ACC. Multi-service tactics, techniques, and procedures for air control communication. ATP3 to 52.4 MCRP3-20F.10 and TP6 to 2.9 AFT3 to 2.8. October 1st, 2024. Distribution Statement A. Approved for public release. Distribution is unlimited. Asterisk supersedes ADP 3-52.4/MCRP3-20F.10/NTP6-02.9/AFTP3 2.8, dated September 2nd, 2021. ACC Multi-Service Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures for Air Control Communication. Executive Summary. 12 Chapter 1 Overview. 1.1. Airspace Control. 1.2. Tactical Command and Control, Taxi 2. 2.3. Assumptions. 2 Chapter 2 Tactical Administration, TCADMIN, Communication. 5.1. TCADMIN. 5.2. Communication Priorities. 5.3. Directive, Informative, Interrogative, Relay Transmissions. 6. 4. Check-in Procedure. 6. 5. Unable to make contact on the primary check-in net. 10.6. Link 16 Fidelity Checks. 10.7. Link 16 ID Procedures. 10.8. Jackal Sour. 12.9. Words Procedures. 12. 10. Have Quick 2/Secure Anti-Jam Tactical Ultra-High Frequency Radio Network, Saturn, Procedures. 13.11. In-Flight Report, Infotrep. 14.12. Return to Base/Returning Forces Phase. 16.13. Establishing Procedural Control. 16 Chapter 3 Force Packaging and Direct Air Support Coordination. 19.1. Force Package Accountability and Roll Call. 19.2. Lowdown. 23. Timing Changes. 21. 4. Chattermark Procedures. 22. 5. Lane Handover Procedures. 23.6. Fuel/Weapon Statuses. 24 Chapter 4 Air-to-Air Communication Fundamentals. 25.1. Communication Fundamentals. 25.2. Group. 25.3. Core Information Format. 26.4. Group Location. 26.5. Group Altitude. 28.6. Track Direction and Specific Aspect. 29. 7. Declaration. 30. 8. Fill-in information. 39. Picture. 33.10. Core information concerning a picture. 34.11. Special Mission Aircraft, SMA, picture. 34.12. Anchoring a picture. 36.13. Traditional labels for a picture. 37.14. Amplifying a traditional label for a picture. 37.15. Single group/2 groups traditional label for a picture. 46.16. 3 groups or more traditional picture labels. 47. 17. A leading edge picture. 54. 18. Package picture labeling. 56.19. New picture. 56.20. Additional, pop-up, and threat groups. 57 Chapter 5 Air-to-Air Intercept Communication. 59. 1. Overview. 59.2. Communication Cadence by Intercept Phase. 59.3. Commit/target beyond visual range. 64. Tactical, TC, range call. 61.5. Targeted. 61.6. Shoot. 63.7. Declare. 63.8. Hostile declaration during shot communication. 64. 9. Clean. 64. 10. Group maneuvers. 64.11. Bogey dope/BRA request. 70.12. Electromagnetic attack, EA. 71.13. Spike. 72.14. Engage/merge. 72.15. Cold operations. 73.16. Fighters in depth. 74.17. Threat call. 74. 18. Faded or vanished. 76. 19. Snaplock. 7920. Leaker. 7921. Lane crossers and lane riders. 7922. CMD picture. 80. Chapter 6 RTO surface communication. 83.1. Overview. 83.2. A. S. Tasking serialization. 83.3. A. S. Tasking format. 83.4. Full digital taskings, J28.2 and J12.0 tasking against J3.x track. 84. 5. Full voice taskings. 85. 6. Partial digital taskings, voice and J12.0 tasking against J3.x track. 85.7. Readbacks. 85.8. Ground/surface threat picture communication. 85.9. Threat reaction communication. 89.10. SCAD contracts. 89.11. Find, fix, track, target, engage, and assess F2T2EA contracts. 90. References. 95. Glossary. 97. List of figures. Figure 1. Target aspect and aspect angle. 29. Figure 2. Intergroup formations. 33. Figure 3. SMA picture example. 35. Figure 4. SMA picture update. 36. Figure 5. Pre-commit core information. 37. Figure 6. Opening. 38. Figure 7. Closing. 39. Figure 8. Weighted Vic and champagne. 40. Figure 9. 3 group wall weighted. 41. Figure 10. Range with echelon. 42. Figure 11. Azimuth with echelon. 42. Figure 12. 3 group ladder example 1. 43. Figure 13. 3 group ladder example 2. 43. Figure 14. Track direction assumed. 44. Figure 15. Track direction not assumed. 45. Figure 16. Different track directions. 46. Figure 17. 2 groups azimuth. 47. Figure 18. 2 groups range. 47. Figure 19. 3 group wall. 48. Figure 20. For group wall with separation. 49. Figure 21. 5 group wall. 50. Figure 22. Champagne. 51. Figure 23. Vic. 52. Figure 24. Box. 53. Figure 25. 3 group ladder. 53. Figure 26. Leading edge example 1. 55. Figure 27. Leading edge example 2. 55. Figure 28. Maneuver spread. 66. Figure 29. Maneuver range. 66. Figure 30. Maneuver azimuth. 67. Figure 31. Maneuver range and azimuth. 67. Figure 32. Maneuver azimuth and range. 68. Figure 33. Passing. 69. Figure 34. Crossing. 70. Figure 35. Joined. 70. Figure 36. Cross-court threat call. 76. Figure 37. Faded. 77. Figure 38. Vanished. 78. Figure 39. Lane rider. 80. List of tables. Table 1. Communication priorities. 5. Table 2. Check-in procedures. 8. Table 3. Aircrew check-in brief with Taxi 2 in POPCO format. 9. Table 4. J3.5 track identification plan. 11. Table 5. J12.0 mission assignments by aircraft. 11. Table 6. In-flight report example 1. 15. Table 7. In-flight report example 2. 16. Table 8. Air-to-air intercept phases and priority communicators. 60. Table 9. Description, location, elevation, remarks/restrictions DLR, attack briefing. Format. 84. Table 10. Tactical report, TACREP, alphanumeric designators. 87. Table 11. Key to brevity codes. 102. Executive summary. ACC. Multi-Service Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures for Air Control Communication, ACC, establishes tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTP, to describe the format for direct coordinating communication. Air assets can use these TTP to coordinate force packaging and air-to-air, A/A, and air-to-surface, AS, missions with Tactical Command and Control, TAC-C2, agencies. TAC-C2 agencies can use these TTP to control airspace that air assets use to accomplish A/A and AS missions. Chapter 1 Overview. Chapter 1 gives an overview of airspace control and describes TAC-C2. A list of assumptions are provided for the warfighter to understand appropriate times to apply these TTP. Chapter 2 Tactical Administration Communication. Chapter 2 defines tactical administration. It describes procedures for network transmissions, check-in, words, have quick, in-flight reports, returning force accountability, and procedural control. Chapter 3 Force Packaging and Direct Air Support Coordination. Chapter 3 describes TTP for roll calls, low-down, mission timing changes, chattermark procedures, battle space handover procedures, and weapons/fuel status communication contracts. Chapter 4 Air-to-Air Communication Fundamentals. Chapter 4 provides the fundamental ways fighters and TAC-C2 agencies communicate about air entities. This lexicon and format for communication are critical for executing A/A intercepts. Chapter 5 Air-to-Air Intercept Communication. Chapter 5 establishes a communication format for A/A employment and air intercept control. It governs communication fundamentals, format, and integration between fighters and controllers, independent of mission design series, MDS, or type, model, and/or series, T/M/S. This chapter is the baseline for all A/A communication in training and combat. Service-specific differences are annotated. Chapter 6 Air-to-Surface Communication. Chapter 6 describes aircraft as any air assets executing an AS mission under TAC-C2. This chapter establishes a communication format for AS employment. It governs communication fundamentals, format, and integration between aircraft and controllers, independent of MDS or T/M/S. Program participants. The following commanders and agencies participated in creating this publication: Joint United States, U.S., Joint Staff, J7, Suffolk, Virginia Army, U.S. Army Combined Arms Center, Fort Leavenworth. Kansas, U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command, Joint Base Langley Eustis, Virginia Marine Corps Training and Education Command, Quantico, Virginia MAGTF Training and Education Standards Division, Doctrine Branch, Quantico. Virginia Navy Warfare Development Center, Norfolk, Virginia Navy Aviation Warfighting Development Center, N7, Top Gun, Fallon Naval Air Station, Nevada Air Force Curtis E. LeMay Center for Doctrine Development and Education, Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. 13 October 9, 2024, ADP 3-52.4/MCRP3-20F.10/NTTP 6-02.9/AFTP3 to 2.8. This page intentionally left blank. Chapter 1 Overview. 1. Airspace Control. A. Airspace control is the exercise of delegated authority over designated airspace and users through control procedures and coordination measures to maximize operational effectiveness. Joint Publication, JP 3-52, Joint Airspace Control. B. The Joint Force Air Component Commander, FAC, establishes Battle Management Areas, BMAs, to support effective, decentralized execution and distributed control of air operations and delegated airspace control authority and Area Air Defense Commander, ADC, responsibilities. C. There are two methods of airspace control, positive and procedural. 1. Positive control. A method of airspace control that relies on positive identification, tracking, and direction of aircraft within an airspace, conducted with electronic means by an agency having the authority and responsibility therein, JP3 to 52. Positive control requires sensors to locate and identify airspace users in real time and provide communications to maintain continuous contact with the user. 2. Procedural control. A method of airspace control which relies on a combination of previously agreed upon and promulgated orders and procedures, JP3 to 52. Examples include A. Air Defense Identification ID, procedures and aircraft ID maneuvers. B. Voice and/or digital communications between aircraft and airspace control elements. C. Airspace control measures, such as low-level transit routes, minimum risk routes, coordinating altitude, restricted operation zones, and high-density airspace control zones. D. Fire support coordination measures, such as restrictive fire and no-fire areas. D. At the tactical level, airspace control is provided by the interaction between airspace users and airspace control elements, JP3 to 52. These may include, but are not limited to: 1. A Control and Reporting Center, CRC. 2. A Tactical Air Operations Center, TOC. 3. An E-3 Airborne Warning and Control System, AWACS. 4. A Navy Tactical Air Control Center, Navy TACC. 5. An E-2 Hawkeye. 6. A Direct Air Support Center, DSC. 7. An Air Support Operations Center, ASC. 8. A Battle Control Center, BCC. 9. Air Defense Airspace Management. 10. A Brigade Aviation Element. 11. Agile Control and Integration Team, ACIT. 12. Integrated Sensing and Effects Team, ICT. 13. Other military and civil air traffic control entities. 2. Tactical Command and Control, TACC-2A, TACC-2. TACC-2 are airspace control elements under tactical control of the FAC, Joint Force Maritime Component Commander, or Composite Warfare Commander, CWC, and use positive and/or procedural control methods to control airspace and manage air operations. Not all airspace control elements are considered TACC-2. The TACC-2 should 1. Enable the flow of forces to and from an objective area. 2. Provide threat warning information and maintain situational awareness, SA, to the primary objective. 3. Maintain SA of supporting asset status, threat information, and target area information. 4. Maintain air asset deconfliction to and from a working area. C. The following are some of the TACC-2 capable entities by service. 1. Army. None. 2. Marine Corps. TOC, DSC, and Early Warning and Control. 3. Navy. E-2 Hawkeye, Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruisers, Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers, Nimitz/Ford-class aircraft carriers, nuclear, amphibious assault ships, general purpose, Wasp-class amphibious assault ships, multi-purpose, and the San Antonio-class amphibious transport docks. 4. Air Force. AWACS, CRC, BCC, ASSC, ACIT, and ICT. 3. Assumptions A. The functional/service components will adhere to the Joint Force Commanders, JFCs, guidance provided through the Rules of Engagement, ROE, Airspace Control Plan, Airspace Control Order, ACO, Area Air Defense Plan, Special Instructions, SPINs, and Operations Task Link, OpTask Link. B. The ADC establishes the policy for ID authority with JFC approval and promulgates it via the Area Air Defense Plan, SPINs, and/or an OpTask Link supplement. Execution of the ID policy is normally delegated to the tactical level, but care should be taken that the tactical commander is capable of performing the ID function. C. Component commanders have outlined commit, ID, and engagement authority to battle managers through the Area Air Defense Plan, SPINS, ROE, and/or OPTSCALANK. D. When executing as a standalone entity, the Carrier Strike Group's CWC concept will independently fulfill the roles in paragraphs A.C. The officer in tactical command may delegate authority to the CWC. Guidance outlined by the CWC will be implemented by the following principal warfare commanders. 1. Air and Missile Warfare Commander. 2. Surface Warfare Commander. 3. Anti-Submarine Warfare Commander. 4. Strike Warfare Commander. 5. Information Operations Warfare Commander. Note: during peacetime operations, the Surface Warfare Commander and Anti-Submarine Warfare Commanders are often combined into a single warfare commander, the Sea Combat Commander. E. The ASOC, DSC, or ACID is the airspace control element for airspace control within their assigned BMAs. These two BMAs are normally short of the Fire Support Coordination Line and below a coordinating altitude. These BMAs are commonly referred to as Division Assigned Airspace or Marine Air Ground Task Force Assigned Airspace, respectively. This page intentionally left blank. Chapter 2 Tactical Administration, TACADMIN, Communication. Note: information transmitted via a network, net, e.g., friendly, group, or threat, and examples of net transmissions are shown in all capital letters. 1. TACADMIN A. TACADMIN consists of all processes and procedures that occur in the TAC-C2JA or BMA. It relates to 1. Interflight and intraflight procedures. 2. Airborne mission preparation that directly supports executing the tactical mission objective. 3. Examples include weapon arming, sensor management, personnel recovery package marshalling, and tactical communication checks. B. TACADMIN does not refer to processes and procedures that coordinate air assets outside the managed JOA or BMA. Examples are 1. Navigating in civil airspace under civilian air traffic control. 2. Operating aircraft in the terminal area under military tower or local area air traffic control. 3. Controlling air traffic to facilitate arrival to or departure from an operating base. 4. An example of an exception to 1.b is an aircraft launched under scramble. Orders, e.g., an alert status, but operating in civil airspace. 2. Communication priorities. The prioritized and efficient flow of communication is vital to complex, contested air operations. Table 1 specifies the priority for air communication. Table 1. Communication priorities: 1. Flight safety and aircraft emergencies. 2. Kill verification. In a training environment, range training officer, RTO communications. 3. Defending, spike, and threat calls. For requests for controller and fighter targeting situational awareness, i.e., declare, bogey dope, or response to electromagnetic attack, e.g., strobe. 5. Picture or fill-ins. 6. Tactical administration, e.g., words update. 3. Directive, informative, interrogative, relay transmissions. A call sign is associated with every radio transmission. Refer to Chapter 4 for additional transmission guidance, i.e., pronunciation and formatting. A. Directive transmissions. Aircrew and Taxi 2 will use the call sign of the entity being directed. Directive transmission directed by Hornet 1, Hornet 2, Target North Group. B. Interrogative transmissions. Calls that are requests for a response will use the entity speaking to, speaking entity format. Interrogative transmission. Interrogative from Eagle 11, Mike, Eagle 11, declare additional group. C. Informative transmissions. Calls that provide information that does not require a response. Informative calls will use speaking entity format. Informative transmission. Informative from Eagle 11, fuel yellow. Informative picture transmission. Informative from Magic, picture clean. D. Relaying a call. 1. The communication format is entity speaking to relay, call sign of entity call being relayed. 2. Do not include the relaying entity's call sign. Relay transmission from HOG1 relayed by Snake 11 to Mike, relay Hog 1. Strike package Miller time. Note: Snake 11's call sign is omitted from the transmission. 4. Check-in procedure A. Check-in. 1. The purpose of check-in is for aircrew and TAC-C2 airspace control elements to establish contact, allow the airspace element to establish accountability of the airborne asset, and to pass critical information to the aircrew before handoff to a final mission controller. A. TAC-C2 will verify position and identity of the aircraft. B. TAC-C2 will route the aircrew to their mission area. C. The aircrew will gain updated information for the mission area, i.e., words, situation update code, also referred to as SUC. D. The aircrew can check anti-jam and secure communication systems. 2. The aircrew should establish communication with TAC-C2 on a dedicated check-in net. Dedicated nets support TAC-admin without interfering with employment. 3. Once all tactical information has been relayed to the check-in aircraft, TAC-C2 will switch the aircrew to the final controller tactical net. Note: when checking in with the final controller, the oncoming aircraft is assumed to be TAC-admin complete. 4. For continuous operations, e.g., lane handoff, TAC-C2 should consider passing big-picture information before pushing air assets to the tactical net. 5. Check-in should accomplish the items in Table 2 before and after mission execution. 1. Table 2. Check-in procedures. 1. Ensure positive friendly identification. Point 2a. B. Correct or valid response to IFF, i.e., modes 1, 2, 3a, 5, and S. PPLI is present on link 16 or similar data link systems. C. D. Secure voice with radar correlation. Authentication procedures, e.g., challenge and reply, time, or isoprep. E. F. Adherence to ACO. Adherence to briefed sanctuaries, e.g., transit levels, TR, MRR, or LLTR. 2. 3. Accomplish alpha check from Bullseye. Point 3 provides safety of flight information, e.g., airspace coordinating measure, airspace changes, or block changes. 4. 5. Verify words received via digital means, e.g., primary J28.2, or voice. Check weather. A. B. Combat. Update operating area weather that impacts the briefed plan. Training. Relay the weather plan or war call. 6. Accomplish a post-mission in-flight report. Notes: 1. Multiple TAC-C2 nets may be used to accomplish these check-in tasks. 2. Specific procedures are outlined in the spins. 3. Alpha check correlation is defined as within 3 nanometers. Solving for correlation rests with the aircraft checking in. Legend: ACO, Airspace Control Order. IFF, Identification, Friend or Foe isoprep, Isolated Personnel Report. LLTR, Low-Level Transit Route. MRR, Minimum Risk Route Net, Network. NM, Nautical Mile. PPLI, Precise Participant Location and Identification Spins, Special Instructions. TAC-C2, Tactical Command and Control. TR, Transit Route. B. Aircrew check-in with TAC-C2. Note: this check-in is specific to terminal control agencies. Table 3 shows them POPCA mnemonic, which is useful for remembering the order of check-in. Table 3. Aircrew check-in brief with TAC-C2, in POPCA format, mission number and type of aircraft position and altitude ordnance, if applicable, playtime capabilities, e.g., laser, infrared pod, data link, abort code 1, AS frag check-in. AS fragged means the unit or element is performing as briefed, in accordance with the Air Tasking Order, ATO, or Airplan. A. Use an abbreviated aircraft check when aircraft are on a published ATO or Airplan. B. Check in with the aircrew's mission number as fragged and request an alpha check from the assigned bullseye. The alpha check provides aircrew a position system check. Check in AS fragged aircraft, Miser, Hornet 1, mission number 5-1-1-1, checking in AS fragged, Request Alpha Check Depot. Taxi 2, Hornet 1, Miser, contact Alpha Check Depot 2-7-0/30. 2. Aircrew must check in with exceptions if there are deviations. A. Communicate pertinent exceptions to the current mission. B. The following deviations should always be communicated by aircrew and controllers at check-in. Number of aircraft, e.g., a 3-ship flight when 4 ships are anticipated. Ordnance. Weapons yellow or red or changes to the tasked loadout. Playtime. Fuel yellow or red. Capabilities, e.g., timber sour, jackal sour, gadget bent. Other pertinent mission-specific exceptions, identify them during mission planning. C. The following is an example of a check-in with exceptions. Check-in with Taxi 2 exceptions. Example number 1 aircraft. Miser, Exxon 1, mission number 6-1-1-1. Checking in with exceptions. Request Alpha Check Bullseye. Taxi 2, Exxon 1, Miser, Alpha Check Bullseye 2-7-0/30. Continue with check-in. Aircraft, Exxon 1, Frag -30. D. The following is an example of a check-in with controller exceptions. Check-in with Taxi 2 exceptions. Example number 2 aircraft. Miser, Hornet 1, mission number 5-1-1-1. Checking in AS fragged. Request Alpha Check Bullseye. Taxi 2, Hornet 1, Miser, Alpha Check Bullseye 2-7-0/30. Aircraft, Hornet 1. Taxi 2, Miser, Timber Sour. Aircraft, Hornet 1. 3. The full aircraft check-in format will include mission number, aircraft number and type, position and altitude, ordnance, playtime, capabilities, and abort code. 4. Unmanned Aircraft Systems US should check in with Taxi 2 via tactical chat using the same format. Unmanned Aircraft System US. Check-in example, #US_OPS chat room, Mustang 01, Kingpin, checking in AS fragged. 5. Unable to make contact on the primary check-in net A. The aircrew and Taxi 2 should refer to the chattermark procedures. B. If still unable to complete the check-in, contact the final controller and, at a minimum, receive an Alpha Check and Words update. 6. Link 16 Fidelity Checks. A. Fidelity checks will begin as soon as aircraft have operational systems, and the checks will be completed routinely and prior to entering the JA or BMA. B. 3 attempts will be made to conduct Link 16 Fidelity checks. If unsuccessful after the 3rd attempt, the affected asset will report timber sour. 7. Link 16 ID procedures. A. If an ID difference exists on a link track, coordination will be accomplished on the track supervision net to verify the correct ID, as in the following example. Track ID coordination Mojo, Barnyard, Mojo, track 0-1-2-3-3 hostile, tag flanker, Barnyard, Barnyard, track 0-1-2-3-3 hostile, flanker. B. Table 4 outlines the standard J3.5 track ID plan for specific events. Table 5 outlines the J12.0 mission assignments by aircraft. Event Table 4. J3.5 track identification plan track or specific type convoy theater ballistic missile, TBM, convoy moving. Ballistic missile defense site. TBM launch position. TBM fire ballistic missile preparing for launch. Hostile ballistic missile firing. High-value individual surface-to-air missile, SAM, hostile train. Hostile SAM site. Troops in contact command and control, C2, hostile troop concentration. Hostile C2 site. Air defense artillery, ADA, uncorrelated mover, single, hostile ADA. Unknown vehicle. Uncorrelated rotator downed aircraft neutral radar site. J3.1 downed aircraft, bailout or pilot in water. Downed aircraft refined coordinates friendly troop concentration search and rescue. Note: the first platform to correlate a kill holds the responsibility for dropping the track once the striking aircraft calls splash with a bullseye location and type. Table 5. J12.0 Mission assignments by aircraft cockpit displayed messages. Mission type: investigate target. A10C INV engage SMAC. B1V attack INV intervene. V52 attack INV target. F15 attack visual ID interdict. F16 attack orbit interdict. FA18 attack in scat commit. F22 attack INV engage. F35 attack INV armed recon. Note: investigate can also be interrogate. Target can also be priority kill. Attack. 8. Jackal Sour fighters should communicate Jackal Sour to controllers during check-in or during the mission when they are not receiving accurate surveillance information. A. If fighters are Jackal Sour, the controller should ensure correlation is met prior to targeting. B. If correlation is in question, fighters may request the controller declare a group or request bogey dope, bearing, range, altitude, and aspect (BRA) to a group prior to weapons employment. 9. Words procedures. A. Words is a directive call or interrogative request regarding further information or directives pertinent to a mission or operating area. Words are designated by ATO day, numbered sequentially, and established and deleted individually. For example, words AA01, pronounced Alpha Alpha 01, would represent the first words generated on ATO day, AA. 1. Words are generated by the TAC-C2 agency outlined in the spins. 2. The first words for a new ATO day should incorporate pertinent information from the previous day. 3. Words are limited in scope to each operating area. B. Examples of words information include, but are not limited to: 1. Changes to the package. 2. Net changes, e.g., a new tactical mission net. 3. Timing changes. 4. Threat updates, e.g., a new active threat axis or sector. 5. Change to threat warning condition or weapons control status. 6. Weather affecting execution. 7. Combat search and rescue events. C. TAC-C2 will relay words to all assets in the operating area, the Joint Air Operations Center, JOC, Navy TACC, and/or appropriate CWC. 1. New words will be relayed by TAC-C2. 2. TAC-C2 will use digital means, e.g., J28.2, to the maximum extent possible when passing words to air assets. D. Aircraft that check in with TAC-C2 should consider adding the current words they have at the check-in call, i.e., checking in with words Bravo Alpha 0 to 1. Words change TCC2, Hornet 1, Gambler, words Bravo Alpha 0 to 2 now current. Aircraft, Gambler, Hornet 1 with words Bravo Alpha 0 to 1. TAC-C2, Hornet 1, Gambler words Bravo Alpha 0 to 2 to follow. New Threat Axis 310, Threat Warning Condition Red, Weapons Control Status Tight. E. In the previous example, Hornet 1 had words BA01. 1. TAC-C2 only had to relay words BA02. 2. If the aircrew had checked in without words, TAC-C2 would have relayed all information in words BA01 and BA02. F. When there are multiple command and control C2 agencies in an operating area, words are generated by the assigned TAC-C2 agency based on the tactical situation and inputs from other agencies or units. 10. Have Quick 2/Secure Anti-Jam Tactical Ultra-High Frequency Radio Network, Saturn. Procedures. A. Successful Have Quick 2/Saturn requires a synchronized time of day (TOD) signal, Mickey, between all communicators. The following is a prioritized list of TOD sources. 1. Secure Global Positioning System. 2. Auto TOD from an operating location. 3. Aircrew Manual Mickey, e.g., FA 18 section lead pass to -2. 4. TAC-C2 Auto TOD. 5. TAC-C2 Manual Mickey. Manual Mickey Aircraft, Strike, Doom 1, Request Mickey. TAC-C2, Doom 1, Mickey in 5. B. Once the aircrew has received a tone, have them attempt a pre-briefed Have Quick 2/Saturn net with instructions on a return frequency if it fails. Have Quick 2 check aircraft, Doom 1, Good Mickey. TAC C2, Doom 1, Strike, Push Active TAD 57 Pogo. Note: E3 AWACS manual Mickey is single tone only. Expect a multiple tone Mickey from other TAC C2 agencies. 11. In-Flight Report, Infiltrep. This report expedites information flow to tactical and operational C2. It can assist in force management, words generation, and intelligence gathering. It can aid in bomb hit assessments that inform retasking assets, e.g. reattack. A. Theater spins or local guidance will outline Infiltrep procedures. B. Infiltrep should be passed to TAC C2 upon checking out from a JOA, BMA, or before returning to base. C. Reports should be passed on the check-in/get-well frequency, a dedicated frequency, or via AJ 28.2. D. Fighters should strive to pass as much information as possible. E. Readbacks for fighter Infiltrep. Theater or exercise guidance should specify the required readback. In the absence of direction, controllers should use the following formats for digital or voice fighter Infiltreps, as depicted in Table 6. 1. For J28.2 only, controllers will respond with a J28.2, good zap. Callsign mission number, line 3 details. 2. For voice, controllers will respond, copy callsign mission number. Line 3 details. Table 6. In-Flight Report Example 1. Item Example Radio Communication. Request from Aircraft, Top Rock, Cobra 01, In-Flight Report. Acknowledgement from Tactical Command and Control, Cobra 01, go with In-Flight Report. Line 1, call sign, Cobra 01 Flight. Line 2, mission number, 5101. Line 3, known blue attrition, Cobra Flight 3 ship, Cobra 04 Fallen Angel Bullseye 0-4-0/27, good shoots. Arctic 41 Fallen Angel Bullseye 0-17/100. Line 4, mission results, Cobra 01, NO observed strikes passed, mission fail. 12 AMRAAMs expended. Line 5, red tactics observed, fighters, strikers, suppression of enemy air defenses, SED, special mission aircraft, SMA, fight axis, mission planning assumptions or courses of action, COAs, met/not met. For flankers committed from the Marshal, escorting strikers ingressing at 27,000. No seed observed. 2 SMA detected counter-rotating caps bullseye 1-9-0/58, 27,000. Most dangerous COA in effect. Line 6, state check and aircraft intentions, Cobra Flight red/red. Request point out to Exxon 71 for refuel, Art B to home plate. Legend. AMRAAM, Advanced Medium Range Air-to-Air Missile CAP, Combat Air Patrol Art B, return to base. F. JP3 to 9.3, Close Air Support, provides an example of a non-fighter Infiltrep for reference, as depicted in Table 7. Item Table 7. In-Flight Report Example 2 Example Radio Communication Request from Aircraft, Cowboy, HAAS-01, In-Flight Report. Acknowledgement from Tactical Command and Control, HAAS-01, go with In-Flight Report. Line 1, call sign, HAAS-01 Flight. Line 2, mission number, 0552. Line 3, location, N3645W11523, latitude and longitude, 10S0559 4282, grid, or Gamecock, place name/operating area. Line 4, time on target, 1518Z. Line 5, result, 5 enemy tanks destroyed, 5 light trucks disabled, 30 troops in the open. Remarks, Dirt 6 North. Remaining tanks disengaging west. Light surface TO air fire to 10,000 feet, 5 miles south of target area. 12. Return to base/returning forces phase TCC2 check-in controller should attempt to ensure the following for returning forces. A. Verify aircraft are squawking appropriate modes and codes prior to friendly missile engagement zone MEZ entry. B. Obtain mission results and flight statuses via Link 16 or voice and pass the in-flight report to the JOC or CWC. C. Execute wounded bird, battle damage, or hung ordnance notification procedures in accordance with theater directives. 1. Force tell the track until directed by higher headquarters. 2. Obtain call sign, status, and track number of the aircraft. 3. Monitor and track the aircraft until it is out of radar coverage or until it is under recovery base approach control to ensure a safe return. 4. Prepare to coordinate combat search and rescue operations. D. Pass information on home plate weather and operational status, e.g., runway closures or recovery procedures. 13. Establishing procedural control. Procedural control. Taxi 2 may have positive contact on aircraft flying in the JOA or BMA, but use procedural control methods to deconflict air and ground battle space. Requirements. Some TCC2 agencies should specify at check-in when procedural control is used based on system capabilities, crew tasking, and the battle space situation. Taxi 2 can establish hold points, control points, and initial points that are new or previously unknown. Methods include using Common Grid Reference System, Global Area Reference System, Common Reference Point, Latitude/Longitude, Military Grid Reference System, MGRS, or as defined in theater spins. Weather, threats, and terrain are considerations for finding the bottom altitude of a stack. When TCC2 moves from positive to procedural control, the aircrew should be advised to the maximum extent practical. A. Transmit negative contact when an aircraft checks in. B. Taxi 2 may use procedural control in effect when the current operating area standard is positive control. C. If the operating area standard is procedural control, then Taxi 2 does not need to state procedural control in effect. Procedural control. Grim 11, Vulture, negative contact, procedural control in effect. This page intentionally left blank. Chapter 3 Force Packaging and Direct Air Support Coordination. Missions that involve a mission commander, MC, require extensive coordination to execute. The MC and Taxi 2 should establish a plan to receive the lowdown, obtain force package accountability before and after mission execution, establish backup communication plans, and establish air communication contracts. This section and the following chapters establish baseline tactics, techniques, and procedures for these items. 1. Force package accountability and roll call. The MC should ensure the required minimum forces are ready. 2 techniques are a Taxi 2, provided update, or a roll call. A. Taxi 2 update. Taxi 2 should maintain a tally of players that have checked in. At a predetermined time, Taxi 2 provides the MC with the current players. C2 update. Dark Star, Package Bravo Whiskey, -Lion 01, min forces met. B. Roll call. Roll call is initiated by the Taxi 2 or MC at a predetermined time. Once initiated, each aircraft, flight lead, FL, or team lead, TL, as determined by the MC, will respond with call sign in a predetermined sequence. As a technique, this sequence can follow the call sign order on a coordination card. FL roll call example. Package Bravo Whiskey FLs, Eagle, Viper, Bones, Growl, Mojo. MC, Package Bravo Whiskey roll call. FLs respond in sequence, Eagle, Viper with exceptions, Bones, Growl, Mojo. MC, Viper go with exceptions. Viper, Viper -2. If a flight does not respond to the roll call, the MC can query Taxi 2. TL roll call example. Package Bravo Whiskey TLs, Escort, Strike, Airlift, Taxi 2. Airlift, Taxi 2. MC, Package Bravo Whiskey roll call. TLs respond in sequence, Escort with exceptions, Strike. MC, Escort go with exceptions. Escort TL, Escort -Raptor. Minimum forces met. C. Times to consider initiating a roll call. 1. Post-slowdown. 2. When there are updated words. 3. When forces completed their mission and are returning. 4. When there is a suspected or known loss of an air asset. 5. When there is a timing change to the mission. 6. When the weather plan changes. 7. When there is key mission enabler fallout. 8. Post-chattermark on a new net. 9. Escort commander/lane commander change when new commander was not previously established or provided with information airborne. 2. Lowdown is a request for the tactical electromagnetic support picture or ground/surface picture in an area of interest. TAC C2 should correlate all factor ground/surface systems using the bullseye format. Note: when communicating with United States, U.S. Army or U.S. Marine Corps Rotary Wing and U.S. pass surface threat information in MGRS if known. Attempt to provide at least a 6-digit grid. A. Lowdown is passed at a brief time, e.g., 5 minutes prior to mission execution, and is immediately followed by a roll call. B. Format for lowdown is 1. Core information. 2. Picture format if assessed ground picture or leading edge meets picture criteria and MEZ picture or lowdown picture is requested. If long-range air defense, LRAD, surface-to-air missile, SAM, systems are a factor and not included in the picture, communicate as core information. C. An aircrew may request lowdown but should do so in accordance with communication priorities. Allow 30 to 60 seconds for TAC C2 to compile lowdown. D. For aircraft not in the tactical net during the initial lowdown, it is passed upon initial check-in as part of the words. E. Lowdown may not be required for each mission set, such as when fighters are conducting a defensive counter-air mission in a permissive environment. F. Lowdown is passed digitally, via Link 16 and tactical chat, or verbally. The lowdown will include changes to the briefed order of battle, such as newly detected systems, systems that have moved a tactically significant distance, or systems that are assessed to be down. The following may be included in a lowdown. 1. LRAD or strategic SAM systems active or awake. 2. Medium-range air defense, MRAD, systems active or awake. 3. Short-range air defense, SHORAD, or tactical SAMs active or awake within the last hour, e.g., anti-aircraft artillery or naval tactical SAM. 4. Movers/rotators meeting briefed reporting criteria. 5. Additional entities, events, or areas of interest applicable to the mission. Note: specific systems or ranges used to prioritize lowdown communications should be determined during mission planning. Lowdown example: Goliath lowdown. SA-20 Awake Bullseye 0-9-0/10, HQ, 9 Active Bullseye 0-8-5/13, 15 Active Bullseye 0-7-5/14, Rotator Bullseye 2-6-0/11. Hostile Convoy Bullseye 2-7-0/10 Track East. G. For tactical SAMs and movers, the order of dissemination is 1. Closest MEZ to friendly forces. 2. Closest MEZ to friendly axis of attack or ingress routes. 3. Most lethal. 3. Timing changes A. Rolex. Timeline adjustment in minutes, always referenced from original pre-planned mission execution time. 1. Rolex is used to adjust the mission timing. 2. Plus is assumed. 3. If a time on target, TT, window extension is required to adhere to the Rolex, TAC C2 agencies should request approval and pass it to the affected flights. 4. Rolex is made in 5-minute increments and is not additive. Rolex example original package Whiskey Alpha mission start time, 1500 Z. Cowboy, package Whiskey Alpha, Rolex 10. New mission start time, 1510 Z. Cowboy, package Whiskey Alpha, Rolex 15. New mission start time, 1515 Z. B. Slip. Slip is time delay to individual flight or element event. Slip is not additive. Slip example original TOT, 1500 Z. Hard Rock, Haas 1, slip tot 6 minutes. New TAT, 1506C. Hard Rock, Haas 1, Slip Tot 9 minutes. New TOT, 1509Z. C. For changes to training vulnerability times, MCs and TAC C2 should use plain language to avoid confusion. New Vol time example, Hard Rock, new VUL time 1600Z. Note: a change to Vol time will include all participants, including white and red forces. 4. Chattermark procedures. A. Chattermark procedures are established to transition from primary to alternate tactical nets. B. The Chattermark plan should 1. Provide alternate nets, which reside in different frequency bands. 2. Prioritize secure, frequency-hopping forms of radio communication. Tailor them based on threat communication jamming capabilities. 3. Establish a get-well net, such as the TAC C2 check-in net. If the aircrew are unsure of the current tactical net, they can switch to the get-well net to receive direction from TAC C2. 4. Outline the criteria and authority for executing a Chattermark. This resides with MC or a designated TL. Degradation on the primary tactical net due to communications jamming or system limitations for the aircrew or controller, e.g., unable have quick, are the most common reasons to Chattermark. C. Request a Chattermark via a request pogo, net name in color and number, e.g., Indigo 03. D. If a Chattermark is directed, all assets will switch to the planned alternate net in accordance with the Chattermark plan and await a roll call. 1. TAC C2 or MC will repeat Chattermark 3 times on the primary tactical net prior to switching to the alternate tactical net and publish a digital message. 2. If able, TAC C2 will simulcast on the old, affected net and the new net. 3. TAC C2 simulcast will continue until force accountability is confirmed on the new net. 4. Force accountability on new net. A. Per the mission plan, FLs or TLs should communicate their call sign on the new net. TAC C2 should only acknowledge if communication time allows in accordance with communication priorities. B. TAC C2 should note accountability as players check in. TAC C2 will accomplish a roll call if needed. C. TAC C2 should communicate net suite on the new net once all players have checked in. Chattermark example primary net degradation is noted by TAC C2. Transmitting on the old net, Miser, TAC C2, Chattermark, Chattermark, Chattermark. Transmitting on new net, Fells, Eagle, Raptor, Hornet, Growler, Miser, net suite. 5. Lane handover procedures. Note: refer to other mission-specific publications for positive handoff of mission command roles, e.g., strike coordination and reconnaissance or close air support. A. A positive handoff is required by the offgoing and oncoming lane commander and should occur in the following sequence. 1. Move forward. Oncoming aircraft may enter the operating area, e.g., defensive counter-air lane. This does not transition lane commander authority. Move forward offgoing lane commander, Hornet 1, move forward. Oncoming lane commander, Hornet 1. 2. Commit. When directed by the lane commander, this call transitions communication priority to the committing aircraft. 3. Lane commander transition. The offgoing lane commander will get positive communication lane handoff to the oncoming lane commander. Lane handoff offgoing lane commander, Hornet 1, you have the lane. Oncoming lane commander, Hornet 1, has the lane. B. The offgoing aircraft will pass critical mission information to TAC C2 in accordance with theater infiltrate procedures. 1. TAC C2 will use this information to update words or lowdown. 2. TAC C2 should pass big-picture information to the oncoming lane commander before pushing assets to the tactical frequency. Example: Tulsa, 12 groups, leading edge 4 group wall targeted by Raptor. Raptor fuel yellow, Eagle weapons red. C. TAC C2 will relay critical information affecting offgoing aircraft return to base procedures. Pass information on weather and airfield issues, e.g. runway closures. 6. Fuel/weapon statuses. A. Unless otherwise briefed, Yellow and red are defined as 1. Yellow. Aircraft is at a weapon and/or fuel status that is approaching a level insufficient to continue execution of the mission. 2. Red. Aircraft is at weapon and/or fuel state that is insufficient to continue execution of the mission. B. Aircraft must relay when they are yellow to taxi 2. C. Aircraft are assumed green unless otherwise reported. Note: a specific loadout or fuel state should be determined during mission planning, e.g., 1 radar missile/10 minutes fuel remaining. D. Taxi 2 is responsible to coordinate on-station relief prior to the aircraft. Communicating red on the primary net. Fuel/weapon state example fighter that is fuel red and weapons green will report Rambo 01, fuel red, weapons green. Chapter 4 Air-to-Air Communication Fundamentals. Note: for this publication, controller is a general term used to define the individual providing tactical control of an intercept or mission. The term fighter is used throughout this chapter. Fighter information applies to any aircraft capable of employing air-to-air A/A ordnance. Controller and fighter are used independent of platform or service. 1. Communication Fundamentals A. A group is the way taxi 2 and aircraft describe other air assets and is used to describe unknown or enemy aircraft. B. The picture establishes a common tactical air image and describes the spatial relationship of groups. 2. Group A. A group is any number of air contacts within 3 nanometers in azimuth and range of each other. 1. Contact is an individual radar return within a group. 2. Single contact is the assumed strength for all groups. More contacts are specified, e.g., single group 2 contacts. Note: the controlling platform's capabilities and limitations will determine if controllers communicate the number of contacts in a group. If unable to determine the number of contacts, but assessed to be 3 or more, controllers will only use the fill-in heavy. B. Groups are distinguished by either a unique name or unique position. 1. There are 4 unique naming conventions used. A. Cardinal relationship, e.g., North Group, South Group. B. Range relationship. Relationship relative to a specific aircraft perspective, e.g., Lead Group, Trail Group. C. Combined cardinal and range relationship, e.g., North Lead Group. D. Descriptive name, e.g., Single Group, Additional Group, Pop-up Group. 2. Unique position reference. Groups can be distinguished using unique position names such as Bullseye, BRA, or Geographic Reference, GeoRef. C. Untargeted. 1. If a group has not been targeted inside the briefed targeting range, then the controller should use the term untargeted. Untargeted will follow group name/label to describe the priority groups that are a risk to the mission or force, e.g., an enemy approaching the mission fail line. Untargeted example: Dragnet, North Group untargeted, Bullseye 2-7-0/15, 20,000, track west, hostile. Note: U.S. Navy assets will issue directive targeting to fighters who are inside the targeting range if the controller assesses targeting has not been issued or is not sound. 2. Tactics selection per the fighter's targeting plan will determine the applicability of untargeted. 3. If a fighter calls targeted or acknowledges directive targeting, contracts for untargeted and threat calls are cancelled. 4. Controllers could use untargeted or issue directive targeting to the appropriate group if inside targeting range and targeting is assessed to be unsound. 3. Core information format controllers and air assets will use the core information format to communicate groups. A. Total number of groups. B. Group location, i.e., Bullseye, BRA, or GeoRef. C. Altitude, rounded to the nearest thousands of feet. D. Track direction or specific aspect, e.g., cardinal/subcardinal or hot/flank/beam/drag. E. Declaration. F. Fill-ins as appropriate. 4. Group location A. Bullseye, primary method to communicate the group location. 1. Bullseye is an established reference point from which the position of an object can be referred to by bearing, magnetic, and range nm. 2. Bullseye information is rounded to the nearest degree and nm. For example, bullseye 225/30 means 30 nanometers on a magnetic bearing of 225 degrees from the bullseye location. B. It is communicated 22530. C. If an aircraft is within 5 nanometers of bullseye, the group may be described as at bullseye. Group at bullseye example Eagle 11, lead group, at bullseye, 39,000, track north, hostile. Bullseye code name example. 3. Use the code name for bullseye when directed by spins. Bullseye code name, Rock. Mike, South Group, Rock 255/29, 39,000, CAP, Combat Air Patrol, hostile. 4. Bullseye will not be truncated to bull to avoid it being misinterpreted as BRA. B. BRA. 1. BRA information for bearing and range are rounded to the nearest degree and nm. 2. BRA calls provide target bearing, range, altitude, and aspect relative to the specified friendly aircraft. For example, BRA 225/10 means 10 nanometers on a magnetic bearing of 225 degrees from the friendly aircraft. It is communicated 22510. 3. Controllers should use the BRA format if the information being communicated pertains only to one specific aircraft or if responding directly to the following fighter requests: BRA, bogey dope, and snaplock. 4. Controllers will also use the BRA format when providing a threat call to an aircraft. Threat call example Eagle 11, lead group, threat BRA 2-7-0/55, 39,000, flank northeast, hostile. C. JORF point. 1. A JORF can be used to provide the approximate location of a group. A group within 5 nanometers of a designated JORF may be referred to as at that point, as with at bullseye. 2. Examples of JORFs may be a prominent natural feature, such as a mountain peak, or a prominent man-made structure, such as an airfield. JORF example prominent enemy airfield code name, Depot. Eagle 11, lead group, at Depot, 39,000, cap, hostile. 3. Controllers may voice hits when correlated sensor returns are not sufficient to fulfill the ID matrix or create a link track, but corroborate with known enemy tactics or procedures. Controllers will voice JORFs or bullseye and altitude if known. Hits example prominent enemy airfield code name, Seattle. Focus. Hit Seattle 11,000. 5. Group altitude A. Fighters and controllers will round altitudes to the nearest 1,000 feet indicated on their system. B. Controllers will not use low or high in place of the altitude and will use altitude unknown if the controlling platform is capable of determining altitude, but a solution is not available. Controllers may voice last after the altitude if the controlling platform sensors have lost altitude data on a track, but the controller has reported or offboard data for a last known altitude up to 30 seconds after report. Last altitude example fighter, focus, declare north group. Controller, focus, north group bullseye 2, 7-5/44, 20,000 last, track east, hostile. C. Controllers will omit altitude from the communication format if the controlling platform is not capable of generating an altitude. D. Altitude stacks. 1. Altitude separation in a group greater than or equal to 10,000 feet are voiced as a stack stating the higher altitude first, then the lower altitude. Altitude stack example, Eagle 11, North Group BRA 3-0-0/32, stack 32,000, 8,000, hot, hostile, 2 contacts, flanker. 2. If the stack has 2 or more altitude separations of 10,000 feet within the group, then controllers may voice the number of contacts high/medium/low or at specific altitudes as fill-in information. 1 contact at each altitude is assumed. If multiple, the controller will voice all contacts. High/medium/low altitude stack example, Hard Rock, North Group Utah 3-0-0/12, stack 35,000, 24,000, track west, hostile, heavy, 3 contacts, 2 high, 1 low. Specific altitude example, Barnyard, additional group peak 2-0-0/12, stack 35,000, 24,000, 10,000, track west, hostile, heavy, 3 contacts. 6. Track direction and specific aspect. A. Track direction will always be used to communicate a group via bullseye and communicated with the cardinal or subcardinal direction, e.g., track south, track northeast. B. Picture exception. 1. If all groups in a traditional picture, leading edge, or package are tracking the same direction, controllers should use the term track with the cardinal direction following the picture label. Groups track the same direction. Example: 1000, hostile. Mike, 2 groups range 30, track east. Lead group rock 1-4-5/60, 35,000, hostile. Trail group 20. 2. If amplifying the picture with track direction, controllers should not provide a track direction for every group in the picture. C. Specific aspects, as depicted in Figure 1, are used when correlating a group to a specific fighter and will be used when communicating with the BRA format. 1. Specific aspects, i.e., hot, flank, beam, and drag, are determined by the group target aspect, TA, or aspect angle, also referred to as AA, to the fighter. 2. Flank, beam, and drag are accompanied with a cardinal/subcardinal direction, e.g., drag east. Figure 1. Target aspect and aspect angle. Note, if the controller assesses groups in a combat air patrol, CAP may be communicated in place of track direction or a specific aspect. D. Maneuver description, track direction, or specific aspects. E. Controllers may use maneuver hot to communicate groups/contacts that have maneuvered toward the fight axis. F. When controllers assess group maneuvers during the picture call and are unable to determine the track direction or aspect, controllers may use maneuver instead of the track direction. Group maneuvers example, Tango, 2 groups range 25 opening. Lead group bullseye 2, 6, 5/18, 35,000, maneuver, hostile. Trail group, 35,000, track north, hostile. 7. Declaration A. A declaration is required to communicate a group via bullseye or BRA. B. Voice declaration is bogey, friendly, neutral, bandit, or hostile. C. Link ID may be acceptable as a means of declaration if defined by spins and ROE. 8. Fill-in information. A. Fill-ins increase descriptive details about a group. B. Fill-ins are prioritized as follows. 1. Heavy and number of contacts. A. A group is heavy if it is known to contain 3 or more contacts. B. Provide the number of contacts in a group, if it is determined. C. Fighters will use strength and controllers will use the term contacts to distinguish who is providing the strength assessment. Contacts example controller, Clubhouse, West Group heavy 4 contacts. Strength example fighter, Eagle 12, East Group heavy strength 3. 2. Platform/type. Controllers will provide an aircraft platform, e.g., fighter or bomber, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, type designator, e.g., fulcrum or flanker, or as mission planned with pictures and requests for SA to that group. 3. High. Contact is greater than 40,000 feet mean sea level. High can be used as a fill-in. 4. Fast or very fast. These definitions are provided as references. A. Fast. Target speed of 660 to 900 knots ground speed or 1.1 to 1.5 machine. B. Very fast. Target speed greater than 900 knots or 1.5 machine. Fill-ins example, Dragnet, North Group, Bullseye 2-7-0/15, 42,000, track west, hostile, high, very fast. 5. Targeted by, leaning on, threat to. A. Targeted by provides SA that a group is already targeted. Targeted by example fighter, Mike, Eagle 11, declare North Group. Controller, Eagle 11, North Group, Bullseye 2-8-5/35, 20,000, track east, hostile, targeted by Hornet 2. The targeting responsibility is cancelled when the fighters communicate any of the following: drop, ing, group name, blow, ing, through, spitter, or executes an out. The group should be treated as untargeted if no fighter subsequently targets. C. Leaning on aids in assessing which aircraft a threat is possibly targeting. Making an accurate leaning on assessment is increasingly difficult with improved threat capabilities. For example, a flank or beam threat could be employing ordnance while leaning on another fighter. Leaning on assessments are generally reserved for when fighters are in cold operations, but may be used in other situations, such as non-cooperative targeting. Leaning on example Dark Lord, single group rock 2-5-6/49, 39,000, track east, hostile, flanker, leaning on Eagle 1. D. Threat TO may be used when fighters are in cold operations and a fighter does not meet the minimum recommit range or as an additional fill-in to a traditional threat call. Threat TO example, Mike, 2 groups azimuth 25. North Group, rock 2-8-5/35, 35,000, track east, hostile, threat to Hornet 1. South Group 30,000, track east, hostile. 6. Impact, plus time of flight. A. Controllers will add the impact time to any friendly surface-to-air S/A fires when operating in a joint engagement zone or fighter engagement zone. Impact example 1 Gambler, Big Stickaway Trail Group, Impact 1 plus 15. The impact time is used to aid follow-on fighter targeting, decision-making, and ensure fires deconfliction. C. Impact time can be used as a picture fill-in as well. Impact example 2 Gambler, Trail Group Rock 1-8-0/85, 30,000, track north, hostile, Impact 1 plus 15. C. Intergroup formations. 1. When describing an intergroup formation, controllers and fighters will use the terms described in Figure 2, intergroup formations. 2. Controllers and fighters should only name the intergroup formation when this call will enhance fighter targeting or SA approaching the merge. 3. Intergroup formations should be used inside expected radar resolution ranges. 4. In cruise missile defense, CMD, inter-covey formation should be voiced to the maximum extent possible. 9. Picture A. Picture is a request to provide information pertinent to the mission in a bullseye format, unless briefed otherwise. B. The picture establishes a common tactical air image and describes the spatial relationship of groups. Note: friendly, neutral, strangers, and non-participating groups will not be included in the picture or total number of groups identified as part of the tactical picture. If friendly, neutral, strangers, or non-participating groups are a factor, they are addressed in a separate transmission. Figure 2. Intergroup formation C. Standardized intercept contracts are executed based on the picture. D. Picture format. 1. There are 5 ways to communicate the picture. They are: A. Core information. B. Traditional labels. C. Leading edge communication. D. Waves. E. Packages. 2. Within a picture, each group will have an established name that is retained until A. A new picture is called. B. The group is reduced by attrition. C. The group is no longer a factor to the operating area. 10. Core information concerning a picture A. Core information concerning a picture is primarily used to 1. Pre-commit. 2. If the picture does not meet a traditional or leading-edge label. B. The picture call will include the total number of groups and is anchored in accordance with anchoring priorities as explained in paragraph 12. C. For groups or more. 1. The call will include the total number of groups. 2. Communicate only the 3 highest priority groups. For groups or more example, Dark Star, 10 groups. Group Bullseye 0-2-0/25, 27,000, track east, hostile, heavy, 3 contacts. Group Bullseye 2-7-0/25, 15,000, track west, hostile. Group Bullseye 2-9-0/35, 10,000, track west, hostile. 11. Special Mission Aircraft, SMA, picture. SMA are enemy aircraft that generally operate in a supporting role such as electromagnetic warfare or C2. Similar to a lowdown, a SMA picture will include any SMA relevant to the current mission. Once a SMA picture is given, those aircraft can be excluded from any subsequent tactical pictures. A. The SMA picture should be given after fighter check-in, prior to the initial picture, as depicted in Figure 3. B. When naming SMA for a SMA picture, there are 2 methods. 1. If SMA positioning matches a traditional label, the associated names for that label will be used, e.g., North SMA, Middle SMA, South SMA. 2. If SMA positioning does not match a traditional label, the SMA can be numbered, e.g., First SMA, Second SMA, Third SMA. C. When anchoring each individual SMA, the following format will be used. 1. Name. 2. Location from bullseye. 3. Altitude. 4. Declaration. 5. Platform. 6. Track number. D. CAP will be assumed, and track direction will not be given unless deemed to be tactically significant. E. If the SMA picture is passed via secure communications, NATO designators can be used. If the SMA picture is passed via non-secure communications, applicable code words should be used. Figure 3. SMA picture example F. Changes to the SMA picture can be provided by a descriptive update, as depicted in Figure 4. Figure 4. SMA picture update 12. Anchoring a picture in anchor is a bullseye used to establish the picture and aid in fighter targeting. A. Geographic boundaries and the targeting game plan will dictate the maximum groups that are anchored, e.g., dual-lane defensive counter-air with a fighter engagement zone that has a defined azimuth boundary. Anchoring is prioritized based on risk to force and risk to mission. B. Anchoring priorities can shift from risk to force, e.g., fighters, to risk to mission. For example, an enemy striker approaches a mission fail line and puts the mission at risk. In this case, the enemy striker may be the anchoring priority. C. When risk to force is a higher priority than risk to mission, controllers will anchor groups referring to the following priorities. 1. The threat that is closest to fighters. 2. The most capable threat, based on combat identification, declaration, aircraft type, flight profile. 3. Highest groups. 4. The largest group strength. D. Groups will be anchored with bullseye if the groups are outside 10 nanometers in azimuth. With multiple groups in azimuth, unless utilizing directive targeting, only anchor the outermost groups. 13. Traditional labels for a picture A. Controllers should use traditional labels and group names with the following criteria. 1. Commit criteria has been met. 2. Threat formation is discernible, matches a traditional label, and labeling a picture will build SA and aid fighter targeting. Figure 5. Pre-commit core information. 3. If a traditional label does not apply based on the threat presentation, controllers should use leading-edge communication. B. The standard labels used are single group, range, azimuth, VIC, champagne, wall, ladder, and box. Note: friendly, neutral, strangers, and non-participating groups will not be included in the picture or total number of groups identified as part of the tactical picture. If friendly, neutral, strangers, or non-participating groups are a factor, they are addressed in a separate transmission. 14. Amplifying a traditional label for a picture A. Amplifying remarks follow the dimensions of the traditional picture. Opening/closing, track, weighted, and echelon are the most common amplifying remarks. B. Picture amplification order will be 1. Opening/closing. 2. Weighted. 3. Echelon. 4. Track direction. C. Opening or closing. 1. Opening or closing can be applied when the distance between groups is increasing or decreasing and may impact the fighter intercept. 2. Opening or closing is placed following the picture label and dimensions, but in front of other amplifying remarks, such as echelon and track, as depicted in Figures 6 and 7. Figure 6. Opening. Figure 7. Closing. Picture amplification example. Venom, 3 group Vic, 15 deep opening, 10 wide, weighted north. Lead group bullseye 2-7-0/80, 41,000, hostile, high, fast. North trail group 17,000, hostile. 2 contacts, south trail group 12,000, bogey spades. D. Weighted. This is an amplifying remark that describes traditional labels with 3 groups or more. 1. The picture is weighted if one or more groups are offset, i.e., the distance between groups are not equidistant. A. Divide the azimuth into thirds. B. If the out-of-position group is outside the middle third, it is weighted. C. In a weighted wall picture, communicate a separation distance from the highest priority anchored group to the next closest group. D. If the picture is a weighted VC and the lead group is outside of the trail groups, use weighted if the lead group is less than or equal to 5 nanometers laterally when measured perpendicular to the threat axis and not opening. Otherwise, consider using a wall label with an echelon component. E. If the picture is a weighted champagne and the trail group is outside of the lead groups, use weighted if the trail group is less than or equal to 5 nanometers. Laterally when measured perpendicular to the threat axis and not opening. Otherwise, consider using a wall label with an echelon component, as depicted in Figure 8. Figure 8. Weighted Vic and Champagne 2. Weighted is accompanied by a cardinal direction relative to the defined threat axis, as depicted in Figure 9. Figure 9. 3-group wall weighted. E. Echelon. 1. Echelon is used to amplify a traditional label when groups in the traditional label are not directly in azimuth or range with one another. 2. Echelon should not be used if the depth component between groups is less than or equal to 5 nanometers. 3. Echelon is accompanied by a cardinal or subcardinal direction and is stated following the picture label and dimensions. The threat axis will determine the direction of the echelon. A. If the distance between groups is wider than it is deep, the picture is called azimuth. If the separation is deeper than it is wide, the picture is called range. B. Controllers can create a line 45 degrees from the group closest to the fighters in the direction of the offset group. C. If the offset group is forward of the 45-degree line, the picture is an azimuth. If the group is aft of the 45-degree line, the picture is a range, as depicted in Figures 10 and 11 and 12 and 13. The distance between groups will be passed as separation. Figure 10. Range with echelon. Figure 11. Azimuth with echelon. Figure 12. 3-group ladder example 1. Figure 13. 3-group ladder example 2. F. Track. 1. If all groups in a picture are hot along the fight axis, track direction is assumed, as depicted in Figure 14. Figure 14. Track direction assumed. 2. If all groups share a common track direction other than hot, controller will voice the track direction amplification for the entire picture, as depicted in Figure 15. Figure 15. Track direction not assumed. 3. If groups do not share a common track direction, controller will provide track direction fill-ins on each individual group, as depicted in Figure 16. Figure 16. Different track directions 15. Single group / 2 groups traditional label for a picture A. The label single group will only be used when one known bogey / bandit / hostile group is detected in an operating area. The label is single group and all information is passed as core information. Single group example, chalice. Single group bullseye 3-6-0/20, 20,000, track west, bogey spades. B. Two groups are labeled azimuth or range. 1. Azimuth. When the distance from the groups relative to the fighters are approximately the same. Groups in azimuth are named using cardinal directions, as depicted in Figure 17. Figure 17. Two groups azimuth. 2. Range. If one group is closer to the fighters than the other, range is used as the picture label. Groups in range are named lead group and trail group, as depicted in Figure 18. Figure 18. Two groups range. 16. Three groups or more traditional picture labels. A. General. The 5 traditional picture labels for 3 or more groups are wall, champagne, VAC, box, and ladder. Controllers will use 5 nanometers of depth to determine the tactical relationship between groups. Wall is the label used if depth is equal to or less than 5 nanometers or closing inside of 5 nanometers. Champagne or VC is the label used if the depth is greater than 5 nanometers or opening outside 5 nanometers. B. Wall. 3 groups or more separated in azimuth. 1. Wide. The term wide, prefaced with distance in nm, is used to describe the dimension of a wall. 2. 3 groups. A. The outer group names are the cardinal direction relative to the defined threat axis. For example, East group and West group. B. The inner group is named middle group, as depicted in Figure 19. C. In a weighted wall picture, a separation distance will be communicated from the priority anchored group to the next closest group. Figure 19. 3-group wall, 3, 5 groups or less. A. The outer group names are the cardinal direction relative to the defined threat axis. For example, East group and West group. B. The inner groups are named middle groups. C. A cardinal direction is added to multiple middle groups, so each has a unique group name. For example, North middle group, and South middle group, as depicted in Figure 20. Figure 20. For group wall with separation for more than 5 groups. A. The fighters and controller should name the outrigger groups based on cardinal relationship, i.e., North, South, East, West, and inner groups in numerical sequence, e.g., North group, second group, 7th group, South group. B. The second group will always be closest to the first anchored outrigger group. C. In a wall formation with no groups in the middle third, voice separation from the outrigger to middle groups. Figure 21. 5-group wall C. Champagne. This is 3 groups with the 2 closest groups to the fighters in azimuth and the 3rd group in range. 1. The term wide is used first to describe the azimuth dimension of the champagne. 2. The term deep is used second to describe the range dimension of the champagne. 3. The 2 groups closest to the fighters are named lead groups with a cardinal direction descriptor. The group in trail is named the trail group, as depicted in Figure 22. Figure 22. Champagne D, VAC. This is 3 groups with the first group closest to the fighters and 2 groups in range of the first group, separated in azimuth. 1. The term deep is used first to describe the range dimension of the VAC. 2. The term wide is used second to describe the azimuth dimension of the VIC. 3. The group closest to the fighters is named lead group. The 2 groups in range are named the trail groups with a cardinal direction descriptor, as depicted in Figure 23. Figure 23. Vic E. Box. A box is 4 groups with 2 groups closest to fighters separated in azimuth and 2 groups farthest from fighters, also separated in azimuth. 1. The term wide is used first to describe the azimuth dimension of the box. 2. The term deep is used second to describe the range dimension of the box. 3. The groups closest to the fighters are named lead group with a cardinal direction descriptor, i.e., East lead group and West lead group. 4. Groups will be voiced clockwise or counterclockwise, based on anchoring priorities of the lead groups. 5. The groups farthest from the fighters are named trail group with a cardinal direction descriptor, as depicted in Figure 24. Figure 24. Box F, ladder. This is 3 groups or more separated in range from one another. 1. The term deep is used to describe the total range dimension of the ladder. 2. The first group in a ladder will always be named lead group. The last group will always be the trail group. 3. A separation distance will be communicated from the lead group to the next group. 4. In a 3-group ladder, the group names are lead group, middle group, and trail group, as depicted in Figure 25. 5. When there are more than 3 groups, the group names are lead group, second group, third group, trail group. 17. A leading edge picture A. The leading edge is defined based on which groups the fighters expect to employ on an intercept. Note, this depth is Mission Design Series, MDS, and type, model and/or series, T/M/S, specific and must be discussed in mission planning. B. Leading edge communication is applied 1. When all groups in an operating area do not fit a traditional label. 2. To minimize the radio transmission when communicating complicated pictures. 3. To facilitate rapid targeting of priority groups. C. If leading edge communication is not appropriate, fighters and controllers can relay the picture using core information. D. The following is the leading edge communication format. 1. The controller should communicate the total number of groups prior to communicating leading edge. 2. A traditional picture label will follow leading edge. 3. The controller should label the picture based on which groups are expected to be targeted in the upcoming fighter attack, e.g., fighter recommit. E. Follow-on groups will be communicated using wave communication. Waves are coordinated tactics between threat formations operating with defense in depth. Waves are differentiated from packages by their depth component. 1. The closest groups behind the leading edge will be labeled as the second wave. 2. Waves will be numbered numerically, i.e., second wave, third wave, etc. 3. The second wave and any subsequent waves will also be given traditional labels, as depicted in Figure 26. Figure 26. Leading edge example 1. 4. A separation to the second wave will be given after the leading edge is labeled, as depicted in Figure 27. Figure 27. Leading edge example 2. 5. The separation to the second wave will be the shortest distance between the leading edge and the second wave along the threat axis. 6. When using wave communication, the controller should only provide information that is tactically relevant to facilitate targeting and flow decisions for the fighters on the current attack based on communication time available. 7. Controllers should strive to communicate waves maneuvering with reforming, recommitting, and passing communication if applicable. Waves passing example, focus second wave passing first wave. 18. Package picture labeling A. Define bounding limits in mission planning. Some considerations should include 1. Bounding limits can be determined based on geographic separation. For example, if executing multi-lane, defensive counter-air and the controller is operating in one lane, the controller does not discuss groups in the other lane. 2. Elements operating outside the predetermined bounding range are not considered operating in a common formation. Package example, Goliath, 2 packages azimuth 60, north package bullseye 0-3-0/45, south package bullseye 1-1-0/55. B. Within each package, there may be a picture that can be labeled. Package with a picture example, Chalice, north package, 2 groups range 10, track west. Lead group bullseye 0-4-5/35, 25,000, hostile. 2 contacts. Trail group 15,000, hostile, 2 contacts. C. The group name and package name are used when referring to groups if multiple packages are being targeted. Package target example, Viper 2, target lead group north package. D. If bounding limits are defined by a known geographic boundary, controllers may use JORAF to describe the relationship between packages. Lane with truncated picture example, Goliath, North Lane 3 Group Champagne. 19. New picture A. Controllers should maintain original labels unless a new label and names will fix or better facilitate targeting. If time compressed when combining a range call and a picture, controllers will truncate fill-ins and respond comparatively after targeting calls. B. Controllers may make an abbreviated new picture call inside the targeting range if it facilitates fighter targeting. Situations where this may apply include, but are not limited to, 1. Electromagnetic attack, EA. 2. Adversary maneuvers. 3. Newly detected groups. Abbreviated picture example, Barnyard, new picture, 10 groups, leading edge 3 group champagne. C. If fighters request a picture inside the targeting range, e.g., fighters clear a merge, controllers should use picture labeling criteria unless the nearest group meets threat criteria. D. Fighters executing cold operations will request a picture. E. The term new picture will be used when fighters are hot. 20. Additional, pop-up, and threat groups A. Additional group. 1 additional group is applied to a group that is newly detected outside the targeting range or does not fit a traditional label. 2. An additional group is anchored using bullseye in accordance with the defined anchoring priorities. Additional group example controller, Miser, 2 groups azimuth 20. North group bullseye 3-6-0/20, 32,000, track west, hostile. South group at bullseye, 8,000, track east, hostile. Fighter, Eagle 1, additional group bullseye 0-9-0/7, 5,000, track west, hostile flanker. 3. If an additional group is part of the leading edge and the fighters are outside the targeting range, the controller should relabel it as a new picture and include the additional group as part of the new picture. 4. If there are multiple additional groups, each additional group is prefaced with a cardinal direction and or number, e.g., North additional group, First additional group. B. Pop-up group. 1. If a previously undetected or unreported group appears inside the targeting range and outside the threat range, it is named a pop-up group. 2. A pop-up group is anchored using bullseye in accordance with the defined anchoring priorities. 3. If there are multiple pop-up groups, each pop-up group is prefaced with a cardinal direction and or number, e.g., West pop-up group, First pop-up group. Pop-up group example. Controller, Dark Star, First pop-up group bullseye 2-7-0/15, 5,000, track west, bogey spades. Second pop-up group bullseye 3-0-0/20, 10,000, track northwest, bogey spades. C. Threat group. 1. If an undetected or unreported group meets briefed threat criteria, it is named a threat group. Controllers should use the BRA format when issuing a threat call to the closest aircraft. Threat group example. Controller, Rambo 2, threat group BRA 2-7-0/13, 1,000, hot, hostile. 2. If there are multiple threat groups, each threat group is prefaced with a cardinal direction and or number, e.g., East threat group, First threat group. Chapter 5 Air-to-Air Intercept Communication. 1. Overview. This chapter establishes a communication format for A/A employment and air intercept control. It governs communication fundamentals, format, and integration between fighters and controllers, independent of MDS or T/M/S. This chapter is the baseline for all A/A communication in training and combat. Service-specific differences are annotated. Refer to the following weapon schools for service-specific tactics and employment considerations. A. United States Army Aviation Center of Excellence, USACE, Fort Novosel, Alabama. B. Marine Aviation Weapons and Tactics Squadron 1, MAWTS, 1, Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona. C. Naval Aviation Warfighting Development Center, NAWDC, N7, Top Gun, Fallon Naval Air Station, Nevada. D. United States Air Force Weapons School, USAFOS, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Note: for this publication, controller is a general term used to define the individual providing tactical control of an intercept or mission. The term fighter is the example used throughout this chapter, but this information applies to any aircraft capable of employing A/A ordnance. Controller and fighter are used independent of platform or service. 2. Communication cadence by intercept phase. The A/A communication cadence establishes the flow of information during different phases of a mission. It ensures fighters receive priority information transmitted by the controller. 1. Communication priorities shift between controllers and fighters during different phases of an intercept. 2. Priorities shift based on what asset has the most SA to communicate time-sensitive information. B. Table 8 outlines the A/A intercept phases and the communication priorities. Table 8. Air-to-air intercept phases and priority communicators. Phase 1. Pre-commit or marshal priority communicators. 1. Controller. 2. Fighters. 2. Post-commit or push. 1. Controller. 2. Fighter. 3. Targeting/weapons employment. 1. Fighters. 2. Controller. 4. Merge. 1. Engaged fighter. 2. Supporting fighters. 3. Controller. 5. Post-merge. 1. Fighter clearing a merge. 2. Supporting fighters. 3. Controller. 3. Commit/target beyond visual range. A. Commit criteria. 1. During mission planning, commit criteria is determined based on the overall mission objective. 2. Commit criteria considerations are: A. Range-based, e.g., predetermined range from fighters or a defended asset. B. Location-based, e.g., enemy assets affecting a strike route. C. Threat-based, e.g., only commit against certain aircraft types. D. Weapon employment-based, e.g., allow fighters to employ at their first available employment range. B. Commit authority. 1. Commit authority is derived from the combatant commander and can be delegated to the MC, TL, FL, or controller based on the theater spins/op task link. 2. If only the MC, TL, or FL retain the commit authority. A. The entity with delegated commit authority will commit once commit criteria has been achieved. B. Any entity, e.g. controller, that does not have delegated commit authority can recommend the commit. Fighter authority commit example controller, Tango, 10 groups, Group Rock 2-5-0/45, 35,000, track east, hostile, recommend Raptor commit. Fighter, Raptor commit. 3. If only the controller retains commit authority. A. The controller should direct the commit once commit criteria has been met. B. The MC or TL may only recommend commit. Controller authority commit example fighter, Raptor 1, recommend commit. Controller, Tango, 10 groups, Group Rock 2-5-0/45, 35,000, track east, hostile, Raptor commit. Fighter, Raptor 1. 4. Two-way communication between the fighters and controller is required when a commit is recommended or directed. 5. If a commit is directed by the fighter, the controller will transition from pre-commit communication standards to tactical control and traditional label or leading-edge picture communication. Fighter commit example fighter, Raptor commit. Controller, Tango, 10 groups, leading edge 2 groups azimuth 40, track east. North Group Rock 3-0-0/15, 35,000, hostile. South Group Rock 2-3-0/20, 35,000, hostile. Follow-on Group 25. 4. Tactical TC range call A. Fighters should pre-brief the TAC range call with controllers. The A 60 nanometers separation from the closest fighter to the closest group is a default. C. The first to recognize the appropriate separation will make the TAC range call using the closest fighter call sign and the closest group name. TC range example, Eagle 11, North Group TAC range. 5. Targeted A. Fighters will communicate targeting using the minimum words required while enabling C2 to verify targeting. A fighter that is called targeted indicates that fighter is maintaining awareness of and responsibility for the specified group. B. With data link between fighters and C2, the only communications required may be targeted and the group label. Without a data link, the targeted call must include location information, preferably bullseye. Without C2, fighters should use minimum communications while enabling the FL to verify targeting. Targeted communications examples data link enabled to C2, Rambo 2, targeted West Group. Data link not enabled to C2, Satan 2 targeted West Group bullseye 2-7-0/15. C. Fighters may include more information if they desire to update or re-emphasize information provided by C2, e.g., more contacts detected, altitude changes, expected changes to flow or targeting that the FL has not yet communicated. If including more information, fighters will use the format described in Core Information Format. Core Information Format example, Rambo 2, targeted West Group bullseye 2-7-0/15, 20,000, hot, hostile, strength 2. D. Fighters may combine targeting with shot communication by voicing Fox with a sort as appropriate after targeted. Targeting examples, Rambo 2, targeted, Fox 3 2-ship West Group bullseye 2-7-0/15, 20,000. Rambo 2, targeted, Fox 3 sorted Eastern, West Group bullseye 2-7-0/15, 20,000, strength 3. E. Quality control, QC, targeting. Controllers will respond to targeting calls with QC comparative communication if fighter-targeted communication does not correlate to known group, match briefed shot doctrine, or to correct fighter misperception. QC targeting communication updates or corrects core information and fill-ins. If all information provided by the fighter correlates to information available to the controller, no response is provided. QC targeting example 1 fighter, Rambo 2, targeting North Group bullseye 2-6-0/20, 20,000. Controller, Venom, North Group heavy, 3 contacts. QC targeting example 2 fighter, Rambo 4, targeted South Group bullseye 2-2-0/15, 30,000. Controller, Rambo 4 targeted South Middle Group. South Group bullseye 2-3-0/18, 28,000, hostile, 2 contacts. Note, not all controller platforms can correlate AJ12.6 and shotline. Query the controlling platform during mission planning to evaluate this contract. F. C2 contracts for the untargeted fill-in and threat calls are cancelled if a fighter calls targeted on their targeting responsibility with 1. A correlated bullseye, or 2. A group name and AJ12.6 with lock/shotline that is correlated to or displayed within 3 nanometers of the surveillance track. Shots against groups other than the primary targeting responsibility with no targeted call do not cancel C2 contracts. 6. Shoot this is directive communication by fighters for missile employment against a specific group or contact when fighters are targeting another group. This does not imply bonsai flow to the group or contact and does not invoke fighter targeting responsibility. Shoot example fighter, Bolt 4, shoot Southern-South lead group. 7. Declare A. A declare call is an interrogative call, i.e., request for information, made by either the fighters or controller. B. Use the following communication format when declaring off of bullseye. 1. Call sign of asset maintaining custody to the group. 2. The requesting asset's call sign. 3. Declare bullseye. 4. Position of the group in the bullseye format. 5. Altitude. 6. Track direction, only required to discriminate. Declare request example 1 Dark Star, Viper 1. Declare bullseye 2-3-0/12, 12,000. C. When a declaration request is made after the tactical picture has been labeled, the group name can be used instead of the bullseye location. Declare request example 2 Chalice, Hornet 1, declare East group. D. Declare response. 1. Controllers will always respond to a declare request with bullseye, altitude, track direction, declaration, and fill-ins. 2. Declare responses may include bogey, friendly, neutral, bandit, hostile, furball, unable, clean, or vanished. Declare response example, Chalice, East Group Bullseye 2-7-3/27, 22,000, track East, bogey spades. 8. Hostile declaration during shot communication A. If a fighter determines a group hostile and ROE has been met, the fighter may employ weapons against that group. B. Fighters should communicate group bullseye, altitude, and hostile in the shot transmission so other fighters and the controller can correlate to each other. Fighter declaration/shot communication example, Raptor 1, Fox 3 lead group bullseye 1-2-5/27, 29,000, hostile. C. Track direction is included only if it enhances SA. 9. Clean fighters will call clean if they have no sensor information on a group of interest. If a fighter calls clean on their targeting responsibility, controllers will provide a full positional update or respond with clean, faded, or vanished. Clean example, Mike, Eagle 11 clean North Group. Mike, North Group Bullseye 2-9-0/35, 38,000. Track East hostile. 10. Group maneuvers A. Controllers and fighters are responsible to communicate group maneuvers. The 3 components to each maneuver are 1. Recognizing the maneuver. 2. Communicating the relationship of the maneuver. 3. Updating group names to aid in fighter targeting, as well as group altitude to include fighter targeting, stacks, change in plus or minus 5,000 feet, or a change in fighter sanitization areas. B. Groups maneuver into arms. Arms maneuver into contacts. 1. Once a maneuver is recognized, it is communicated using the term maneuver. 2. If a maneuver direction can be determined, the controller or fighter will update the maneuver using own call sign, group name, and type of maneuver, e.g., beam north or drag east. Group maneuver example 1 Dark Star, lead group beam north. 3. If a specific aspect is not applicable to all fighters, controllers and fighters should use the track direction to describe the maneuver. Group maneuver example 2. Dark Star, lead group track north. Note: maneuvers can drive a new picture if it is outside targeting range or during cold operations. See azimuth, range, and spread maneuvers. 1. Communicate maneuver spread if a group maneuvers and all contacts remain flank/hot. The intent is to communicate that all contacts are remaining hot, as depicted in Figure 28. 2. Communicate maneuver range if a group maneuvers and one contact remains flank/hot and at least one contact maneuvers beam/drag. The intent is to communicate that at least one contact in the group is remaining hot, as depicted in Figure 29. 3. Communicate maneuver azimuth if all contacts beam/drag with no contacts remaining flank/hot. The intent is to communicate that no contacts are remaining hot, as depicted in Figure 30. 4. Communicate maneuver range and azimuth if 3 or more contacts maneuver in range and azimuth simultaneously while at least one contact, S, remains flank/hot, as depicted in Figure 31. 5. Communicate maneuver azimuth and range if 3 or more contacts maneuver in azimuth and range simultaneously while the contact, S, beam/drag with no contacts remaining flank/hot, as depicted in Figure 32. Figure 28. Maneuver spread. Figure 29. Maneuver range. Figure 30. Maneuver azimuth. Figure 31. Maneuver range and azimuth. Figure 32. Maneuver azimuth and range. 6. As a technique, if a group with 3 or more contacts maneuvers to a traditional label, e.g., VIC, wall, or champagne, controllers may communicate a new picture to simplify targeting. D. Changing group names relative to targeting range. Fighter timelines will vary based on MDS and T/M/S and threat capabilities. Prior to any mission, controllers and fighters should ensure they are referring to the same timeline. If controllers and fighters are not able to brief each other, the following concepts and timeline considerations are used as defaults. 1. Targeting range. Targeting range refers to the first time targeting is issued for any fighter in the element or the term targeted is communicated on the control net. 2. Outside targeting range. If maneuvers occur outside the targeting range, controllers may issue a new picture. 3. Inside targeting range. If maneuvers occur inside the targeting range, controllers can choose to A. Update each contact with a new name. B. Use untargeted for the highest factor group, ARM, or contact not being targeted. C. Issue targeting per the fighter's targeting game plan. D. If it will enhance fighter SA and targeting, controllers, as a technique, may provide an abbreviated new picture. 4. If multiple groups maneuver outside group criteria, fighters and controllers should use the new name, e.g., ARM or contact, and the previous group name, e.g., lead group or north group. ARM examples. Multiple north arms, dark star, north arm lead group track north. Single north arm, dark star, north arm track north. E. When groups maneuver and their positional relationships affect targeting or flow, use passing, crossing, or joined. 1. Passing. Passing is two or more named groups with a range relationship maneuver to opposite sides in a range relationship. It is an informative call using the group names from the original picture, as depicted in Figure 33. Figure 33. Passing. 2. Crossing. Crossing is two groups with an azimuth relationship maneuver to opposite sides in an azimuth relationship. Crossing is an informative call using the group names from the original picture, as depicted in Figure 34. Figure 34. Crossing. 3. Joined. Joined occurs when two or more named groups maneuver to meet and maintain group criteria. The new group label should make sense based on the tactical situation, e.g., based on the new targeting plan, as depicted in Figure 35. Figure 35. Joined 11. Bogey dope / BRA request A. Bogey dope is a request for information relative to ownship position on an indicated group or closest group, if not indicated, to build / enhance fighter SA. B. If fighters are clean to a group and desire a group location relative to ownship, they should request a BRA / bogey dope to the group. BRA request example, Mike, Eagle 11 BRA North Group. Eagle 11, North Group BRA 2-1-0/28, 38,000, hot, hostile. Bogey dope request example, Mike, Eagle 11 Bogey dope North Group. Eagle 11, North Group BRA 2-1-0/28, 38,000, hot, hostile. C. Controllers will respond using the BRA format and add appropriate fill-ins. Bogey dope example, Warrior, Eagle 1 Bogey dope. Eagle 1, First Additional Group BRA 1-2-0/38, 35,000, hot, hostile. D. Bogey dope does not imply fighter targeting. 12. Electromagnetic attack, EA, strobe. Controllers will respond to strobe calls with range, altitude, aspect, hot assumed, declaration, and group name, if applicable, to the closest group along that line of bearing. Strobe example fighter, Rambo 1, strobe 360, or Rambo 1, strobe lead group. Controller, Rambo 1, strobe range 37, 25,000, hostile, lead group. B.Music, 1. Music is an informative call that fighters are experiencing radar electromagnetic deceptive jamming from a group. 2. Controllers will respond to music calls by anchoring the group off bullseye and providing the altitude, track direction, declaration, and fill-ins. Music example fighter, Heat 1, Music East Group. Controller, Barnyard, East Group, Bullseye 2-1-0/15, 25,000, Track East, Hostile. 2 contacts line abreast 3. Note, if controllers cannot correlate strobe plus or minus 30 degrees to a group, they should respond with clean. This indicates the contact may be below the controller sensor coverage or may be a ground-based jammer. C. Metallica. 1. This is an cardinal direction. Controllers will respond with clean and the bearing of the spike. Spiked example 2 fighter, Eagle 1, spiked 270. Controller, Eagle 1, Warrior clean 270. 14. Engage/merge A. Controllers should refer to fighters as merged when the resolution capabilities of the controller systems become limiting factors, or when fighters are within 3 to 5 nanometers of a group, or if a fighter calls anchored. Group name or standby, group name. B. Controllers should talk to a merged fighter for 1. Fighter requests. 2. Threat calls. 3. Trespass calls. 4. Strength disparity, e.g., comparative communication. 5. Update fighter flow direction to follow on groups, if required. C. Anchored or standby calls should include the bullseye location, if the group does not have a name. Anchored example fighter, Raptor 1, standby south group, or Raptor 1, anchored bullseye 1-7-0/50. D. Separation. 1. Separation is a fighter request or C2 enhancing call to provide the distance, NM, between 2 groups or waves. A. It is used when a fighter is anchored. B. Separation request implies it is from the current anchored group to the requested group, if not specified. 2. In the separation response, controllers should use their call sign followed by the follow-on group or wave separation, altitude, and fill-ins. 3. Controllers may use range separation or azimuth separation if the tactical relationship between groups changed and the controller did not have the ability to make a new picture call. 15. Cold operations A. Fighters should communicate cold operations with either flow cold or flow with a cold heading. Flow example: Eagle, flow cold, or Eagle, flow 090. B. Communication priorities are as follows. 1. Spikes from unexpected bearing. 2. Range back calls. A. Range back is an informative or interrogative call to communicate the distance, NM, from the closest friendly aircraft to the closest group, arm, or contact measured parallel to the fight axis. B. Controllers will voice range back during cold operations or launch and leave operations once fighters are established cold. C. Controllers will maintain picture labels to the maximum extent to facilitate fighter targeting. 3. Faded or pop-up groups inside of launch and decide targeting depth. 4. Delouse or directive targeting. 5. Picture. 6. Fighter targeting game plan. Cold operations example fighter, Dice Flow 190. Controller, Dice 4, focus, range back 35 additional group. Fighter requested range back example fighter, focus, Demon 1 say range back. Controller, Demon 2 range back 17 group bullseye 0 to 50/20, 38,000, track southwest, hostile. 16. Fighters in depth A. Applies when elements are executing an out and subsequent IN or hot. All communications will comply with the briefed priorities and occur on the primary frequency. B. Continue to update the picture with fighters operating in depth while meeting the priorities listed below. 1. Controllers should maintain the original labels unless a new label and names will fix or better facilitate targeting. 2. If time is compressed when combining a range call and a picture, controllers will truncate fill-ins and respond comparatively after targeting calls. 3. Communication priorities are as follows. A. Any spike responses. B. Picture or bogey dope to the IN or hot element. C. Assist in gaining mutual support as required. 17. Threat call. A. If a fighter will pierce the threat range to an untargeted group, A. threat call is made using the group name, bearing or cardinal/subcardinal direction, range, altitude, and aspect, followed by declaration and fill-ins. B. The threat call is completed no later than threat range. C. Threat criteria is defined during mission planning and relayed during the brief or check-in with the controller. 1. Controllers should use 35 nanometers, independent of aspect, as a default threat criteria. Threat example controller, Heat 31, additional group threat, BRA 1-2-5/35, 35,000, hot, hostile. 2. If the exact fighter location is not known or the threat pertains to multiple fighters, threat information may be provided using Bullseye. A. Bullseye will immediately follow the word threat. B. If a fighter receives a threat bullseye call, the fighter should respond with own call sign. Note: when communicating with U.S. Army or U.S. Marine Corps rotary wing aircraft and U.S. pass surface threat information in NGRS, attempt to provide at least a 6-digit grid. Threat with Bullseye example controller, Cobra 1, Chalice, North Group Threat, Bullseye 2-9-5/26, 20,000, Track West, hostile. 3. When a threat is within 5 nanometers of friendly fighters, controllers may provide threat information using the cardinal direction, range, altitude, track direction, and declaration. Threat within 5 nanometers example controller, Bolt 1, Threat North 3, 10,000, Track South, hostile. 4. If a fighter calls targeted or acknowledges directive targeting, contracts for untargeted and threat calls are cancelled. D. Cross-court threat. 1. A cross-court threat is a group that is targeted by one fighter but meets threat criteria to another. 2. For example, when operating outside a visual formation, the controller may give a threat call to a group that is targeted by another fighter within the element. A. Fighters may use the term heads-up to other flights or elements when targeted groups maneuver and appear to meet threat criteria to the other flight or element. B. Controllers may add targeted by as fill-in information in the threat call, if applicable, as depicted in Figure 36. Figure 36. Cross-court threat call. E. Stern Weapon Engagement Zone, WZ, threat. Threat stern WZ ranges vary greatly between enemy missiles and should be specified for each threat platform and scenario based on current intelligence community assessments. During cold operations, fighters in depth, or situations of detached mutual support when a friendly element indicates a cold flow via exit, out, abort, cold, or flow in relation to the enemy, the controller will use threat ranges determined during mission planning. 18. Faded or vanished. A. Faded. 1. If a previously tracked group is not updated by on- or off-board sensors for 30 seconds, a controller will report the group as faded, as depicted in Figure 37. 2. If a status of the faded group /contact S is requested or if a picture/new picture call is made within 1 minute of the fade, controllers will reference the last sensor return with bullseye position and number of contacts. If the contact was continuously tracked by a fighter after the controller lost contact on the group, the last fighter location will be used in the faded, last known call. Otherwise, controllers will respond with clean and number of contacts faded. Picture within 1 minute of fade example, Venom, 2 groups azimuth 8, North Group Bullseye 2 to 70/30, 23,000, hostile, South Group 10,000, hostile. Single contact faded Bullseye 2-8-0/45, track east, bear. Picture last known location example, Venom, 2 groups azimuth 8, North Group Bullseye 2 to 70/30, 23,000, hostile, South Group 10,000, hostile. Single contact faded last known Bullseye 2-8-0/45, track east, bear. Picture single contact fade from multiple contact group, Venom, North Group now single contact only. 1 contact faded Bullseye 2-7-0/30, track east. 3. In response to a picture request, controllers will report 1, 2, or multiple contacts faded as appropriate. Figure 37. Faded. Faded example fighter, barnyard, Python 1, picture requested more than 1 minute after fade. Controller, barnyard, single group at bullseye, 30,000, hostile, barnyard 2 contacts faded. Note: controllers should not anchor a group previously faded if the elapsed time from when the group faded exceeds 1 minute due to system limitations and degradations in sensor assay. 4. Fighters will maintain monitor responsibility for the group that has been voiced, faded by controllers if the fighters can maintain correlation. Note: faded will not be used to describe friendly aircraft. Controllers will use negative contact to report a lack of sensor data on friendly aircraft. B. Negative contact. If a friendly aircraft is within a known TAC-C2 sensor blind zone or negative contact was previously voiced by TAC-C2 to a call sign, any pilot requesting range information, e.g., spike, strobe, bogey dope, etc., will preface their request with OwnShip's bullseye. Negative contact example fighter, barnyard, HOS-01, bogey dope south group. Controller, HOS-01, barnyard, negative contact. C. Vanished. Vanished is a special case of faded. If a previously tracked group is not updated by on- or off-board sensors, a controller will report the group as vanished if it meets the following criteria. 1. It is not in a known blind zone, terrain masking, or Doppler blind zone. 2. It is correlated to a shot by friendly forces that meet parameters for successful termination, as depicted in Figure 38. Figure 38. Vanished. Note: in training, when groups are called dead by a range training officer, RTO, or a group acknowledges a kill call/kill removes, controllers will use vanished in response to declare/status requests and updated pictures to prevent erroneous targeting. The RTO should respond to requests on dead aircraft with deadman. If a group has alive and dead contacts, update the number of contacts in the group counting only those that are alive. 19. Snaplock if fighters gain sensor SA to a group inside the threat range with beam or hotter aspect, fighters should make a snaplock call. A. During the snaplock call, BRA and aspect are implied due to the reduced timeline to identify and attrite the threat. B. The controller should respond to a snaplock call with the group name, BRA, declaration, and fill-ins. C. If the group was not previously detected, it is named threat group. Snaplock example, Freedom 31, Snaplock 1-2-5/10, 8000. Freedom 31, Threat Group BRA 1-2-5/10, 8000, hot, hostile, 2 contacts. 20. Leaker A. A leaker is an airborne threat that has passed through a defensive layer. B. Leaker can be communicated by fighters or controllers. C. The entity making the leaker call should use own call sign. Leaker example Viper 1. Viper 1, Leaker Bullseye 3-0-5/65, 5000, track south, hostile 2 contacts. 21. Lane Crossers and Lane Riders A. A lane crosser is a group that maneuvers into different areas of targeting responsibility. B. A lane rider is a group that maintains a track direction on or near the line that divides different areas of targeting responsibility. C. During mission planning, fighters and controllers should identify whether a lane crosser/lane rider is targeted via integrated fires or, organically, by the fighters in the lane. 1. There is increased communication required between the controllers of both targeting lanes to facilitate fighter targeting or integrated fires. 2. The controller should use the fill-ins lane crosser/lane rider and targeted by to describe who is targeting the group. 3. Targeted by fill-ins can be added during the picture call or as a descriptive update. Lane rider example 1, controller, as a descriptive update blackout, north group. By north lane. Lane rider targeted by Hornet. Example 2, controller, Blackout, North Group Lane Rider targeted. 4. Fighters in the lanes can direct targeting a lane crosser/lane rider, or the controller or fighters can delegate this targeting authority to the controller. 5. When operating in a multiple lane construct, the controller should incorporate lane crossers and lane riders in the picture call, as depicted in Figure 39. 6. Controllers in the adjacent lanes may include the same group into their picture call. Controllers are responsible to coordinate targeting to avoid double targeting. Figure 39. Lane Rider 22. CMD Picture A. When referring to positively identified cruise missiles, the terms group and contact will be replaced with covey and quail, respectively. Use of arm will remain the same. Picture priorities will be briefed in mission planning and may change based on mission parameters. B. Intercovey formation will always be included as core information. C. If a traditional label does not apply based on the threat presentation, then controllers should use leading-edge communication with the following changes. 1. The controller should communicate the total number of coveys prior to communicating the leading edge. The leading edge comprises all coveys within the mission-planned targeting depth. 2. Leading edge data will include the number of coveys, the azimuth and depth, the geographical relationship mirroring intergroup labels if able, weight, and the total number of quail, followed by core data to the priority covey. CMD example. Barnyard, 2 coveys range 15. Lead covey bullseye 0 to 3 230 seconds, 5,000, hostile, heavy, for quail, line abreast 5. Trail covey 4,000, hostile, 2 quail, swept northwest. Barnyard, 8 coveys. 2 waves, leading edge 6 coveys, 12 deep, 15 wide, wedge, weighted north. Lead covey bullseye 332/32, 4,000, hostile, second wave 20. D. A 35 nanometers separation from the closest fighter to the closest covey is the default tactical range call. E. Close control. If a fighter requests close control, C2 will direct vectors to put the fighter on a hot aspect to the covey specified in the request or the closest covey if no covey was requested. C2 will provide the covey's location using the bogey dope format following the initial vectors. C2 will provide only bearing and range after subsequent vectors. C2 will transition to tactical control at the targeted call or at the geo-tactical call. Close control example. Fighter, Rambo 4, request close control north covey. Controller, Rambo 4, reference 044. North covey BRA 3-1-7/17, 4,000 flank east, hostile. Controller, Rambo 4, hard left, reference 280. North covey BRA 2-8-0/15. Fighter, Rambo 4, targeted north covey, 4,000. Chapter 6 Air-to Surface Communication. 1. Overview. This chapter establishes a communication format for air-to-surface (AS) employment. It governs communication fundamentals, format, and integration between aircraft and controllers, independent of MDS or T/M/S. For interflight communication, refer to the appropriate MDS or T/M/S specific manual. Refer to the following weapons schools for service-specific tactics and employment considerations. A. USACE, Fort Novosel, Alabama. B. MAWTS, 1, Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona. C. NAWDC, N7, Top Gun, Fallon Naval Air Station, Nevada. D. USAFOS, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Note: for this publication, controller is a general term used to define the individual providing tactical control of an intercept or mission. The term aircraft is a general term for air assets executing an AS mission. Controller and aircraft are used independent of platform or service. 2. AS tasking serialization. AS taskings are passed from controllers to aircraft. During a high operation tempo, multiple AS taskings may be passed. Therefore, it is advantageous to use serialization. Serialization is a system for assigning unique codes to simplify communication. It can use letters, numbers, or symbols to identify a large set of information. Serialization is applied to each task in the order of creation and does not imply priority or confidence. A. Plan for the mission to include the AS tasking serialization technique. B. The labeling convention should use the ATO day and two-digit numeric sequencing. For example, 1AA01 is the first task of ATO day AA. 2. This designator should precede the tasking message. 3. Digital messages should end with EOM, meaning end of message. This indicates receipt of all digital message data, e.g., aircraft call sign, AA01, tasking message text, EOM. 3. AS tasking format. AS taskings can be passed as full or partial digital or voice. A. Taskings should pass the minimum information required to accomplish the mission safely and efficiently. B. Tasking should include the following information when applicable. 1. Call sign of the tasked asset. 2. Task type, e.g., target, investigate, or SMAC. See Table 5 for data link mission assignments, page 11. 3. Link 16 track number and target description. 4. Desired point of impact, DPI, in the requested format or formatted in accordance with the spins, e.g., MGRS or latitude, ddmem.mmm, longitude, ddmem.mmm, elevation, mean sea level or height above ellipsoid. 5. Target location error, TLE, or categories, CATs, 1 to 6. This segment may be repeated for targets with more than one DPI. 6. Quantity, Q, number, N, and application, per, P, or total, T for each DPI. Per, P, is used with multiple DPI target sets and total, T, is used if only one DPI is shown. 7. Remarks. These can include mission priority, additional target description for investigate or target tasks, and coordinating data for other missions assigned to the package, i.e., bullseye for escort. C. Taskings may be passed in the description, location, elevation, remarks/restrictions, DLER, format, as depicted in Table 9. Table 9. Description, location, elevation, remarks/restrictions, DLER, attack briefing format. Information description may include target type, size, description, and other amplifying data. Location format must be compatible with the receiving asset system. Options include Global Area Reference System, latitude and longitude, talk-ons, and bullseye. Elevation remarks/restrictions given in feet mean sea level. Include deconfliction measures, ordnance, final attack heading, and time on target, TT, windows, as required. List restrictions. 4. Full digital taskings, J28.2 and J12.0 tasking against J3.x track. A. If a response is desired, controllers should start the tasking process by communicating check data. B. J28.2 is the assumed data source unless the controller specifies another. Full digital tasking example controller, Bone 1, Strike Star, check data, Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. J28.2 message. B01 AA01 TGT /160 10 JS010 tanks cat4 EOM aircraft. Strike Star, Bone 1, good data, Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Controller, Bone 1, come back with ETA, TT, and BDA. C. Controllers should use all available J-series messages, even if the tasked asset is timber sour or not Link 16 capable. This serves to increase force package SA on the operating area taskings. 5. Full voice taskings. Full voice tasking example controller, Hornet 1, Sabre, target tasking TO follow. Target set is 3 vehicle convoy eastbound, quadrant 1 in the vicinity of main supply route Evergreen/ASR Atlantic intersection, 11 SQR 123 456, elevation 150 feet MSL. Remain in quadrant 1. Aircraft Hornet 1 copies 11 SQR 123 456, 150 feet, 3 vehicle convoy eastbound, remain in quadrant 1. Controller, Hornet 1, read back correct. Confirmed enemy tanks in the open. Come back with ETA, TOT, and BDA. 6. Partial digital taskings, voice and J12.0 tasking against J3.x track A. For taskings with a J3.3 or J3.5 message only, use a modified voice format. Partial digital tasking example controller, HOS1, Sabre, task alpha alpha 0 to 1. Target bullseye 1-6-0/10, track number JS010, Cat 4. Call ready remarks. Aircraft, HOS1, captured JS010. Ready remarks alpha alpha 0 to 1. Controller, HOS1, confirmed enemy tanks in the open. Come back with ETA, TT, and BDA. B. If a tasked asset is hollow for the J3.3 or J3.5 message, pass full voice tasking. 7. Readbacks theater or exercise guidance should specify the required readback. In the absence of direction, the following readback formats for full and partial digital and voice are listed from least restrictive and least radio time to the most restrictive and most radio time. A. Wilco digital response to J12.0. B. Voice response with task type and location, e.g., bullseye, J3.5 track number, or coordinates. C. Voice response with task type, coordinates, elevation, and remarks. 8. Ground/surface threat picture communication. A. Common tactical ground picture. The signal's intelligence, SIGINT, ID authority, is responsible for maintaining accuracy of the common tactical ground picture based on emitter or rotator information, as well as resolving any emitter ID ambiguities. 1. Radar type at locations should be primary, e.g., Scrum Half, Tombstone, for strike aircraft. 2. Refer to SAM systems by their number only, e.g., 6 or Roland, to preserve brevity on the tactical net. 3. Voice full SAM system name only if required to eliminate ambiguity, e.g., SA-number or HQ-number. 4. System status terminology may include, but is not limited to the following. A. Awake. This describes land or surface activity detected via communications intelligence. B. Active. This means the emitter is radiating, derived from electronic intelligence. C. Occupied. This means ground equipment at tasked target location. D. Vacant. This means ground equipment is not present at specific or tasked target location. Note: assume all threat emitters only remain active/awake for short periods and, therefore, only report down, previously active but no longer emitting, or asleep in response to a status request or to eliminate ambiguity. E. Reported. Use this if a threat emitter is derived from an offboard source. 5. Color and tag. A. Color calls will have the requesting agency's call sign, color system/subsystem type, frequency, and location if known, and fill-ins. B. Transmit a J14.0 with every color call. C. Respond to a color call with tag. Use comparative communication for tag responses, providing the mission information or tactical report (TACREP) for the emitter if appropriate. Color and tag example known frequency. Frequency, Chalice, color Mipple FRQ 10,300 MHz, bullseye 1-2-3/30, Chalice Force, Teleassociated J14.0. Unknown frequency, Chalice, color bullseye 1-2-3/30. Response, Agent, tag Tombstone bullseye 1-2-3/30. 6. TACREP. A. Transmit TACREPs on voice product networks, VPNs, indicating the collection of tactical intelligence. V. Assign TAC reps an alphanumeric designator indicating the type of activity and serialization. C. Use the phrase update TAC rep to provide updated or amplifying information on an existing TAC rep. D. Ensure alphanumeric designators are in accordance with Table 10. Table 10. Tactical Report, TAC rep, alphanumeric designators. Alphanumeric A- hashtag intelligence. E- hashtag communication, air activity, electromagnetic G- hashtag F- hashtag communication, ground activity, fusion, all/multisource. H- hashtag I- human imagery or non-imaging infrared J- hashtag M- hashtag radar, moving target indication measurement, and signature intelligence N- hashtag O- hashtag communication, naval activity, overhead persistent infrared R- hashtag S- hashtag air operations, center survivor / isolated personnel. TAC rep example. Agent, TAC rep Echo 0 to 4, Big Bird active, Bullseye 2-3-5/18, track number 1-3-2-0-7, frequency XXXXX. B. Situation report, SITREP. Pass SIGINT, imagery intelligence, and moving target indication information on surface emitters on VPN. 1. The SITREP is passed 5 minutes prior to the package lowdown unless mission planning directs otherwise. 2. Emitters are passed using system type, e.g., Big Bird, Low Blow, Bullseye location, and operating frequency in the following priority. A. Air activity and location. In absence of an air picture, e.g., controller system is degraded. V. Active/awake LRAD SAMs that were not a part of the briefed enemy order of battle. C. Active/awake MRAD SAMs that were not a part of the briefed enemy order of battle. D. Any active/awake or within the last hour, SHORAD/tactical SAMs. E. Early warning or ground control intercept radars. Note: the order of dissemination for active/awake SAMs is as follows: closest MEZ to friendly forces, closest MEZ to friendly axis of attack or ingress routes, and most lethal. SITREP example. Agent Sue, 27 Airborne Tonopah. System name: Active Bullseye 1-2-1/20, frequency XXXXX, track number 0-6-0-2-3. System name: Awake Bullseye 1-3-5/40, track number 0-6-0-0-4. Awake Bullseye 1-2-5/35, track number 0-6-0-3-7. Tall King Active Bullseye 0-9-0/6, frequency XXXXX. C. Combat Advisory Broadcast, CAB. Active S/a threat emitters are passed on the tactical net using pre-brief labels or the Bullseye format. 1. CAB is an addition to the threat picture. 2. C2 agencies will relay CAB information received from VPN to the appropriate nets. CAB example. CAB from bandsaw on primary net, bandsaw, to active Bullseye 0-3-5/8 or bandsaw, north to active. D. Imminent threat warning, ITW. ITW is AS/a threat warning to a friendly asset. 1. An ITW is passed when a friendly aircraft is within 5 nanometers of the maximum recommended intercept range of any active, awake, launching, or firing threat. 2. An ITW is prefaced with the aircraft call sign or the bullseye position of the friendly aircraft and uses pre-briefed labels or the bullseye format for the threat description. Note: When communicating with U.S. Army or U.S. Marine Corps rotary wing aircraft and UASs, pass surface threat information in MGRS if known. Attempt to provide at least a 6-digit grid. 3. No ITW is required if an aircraft has reported MUD, defending, or SINGER to the specified threat, or the pre-planned mission directs asset into active WZ. 4. ITW procedures are coordinated for low observable assets during mission planning. ITW example. Eagle 1 Agent, low blow active bullseye 0-1-5/9. E. Trespass. Aircraft, controllers, and agencies will voice trespass when an aircraft is within a not previously known SAM MEZ, e.g., a pop-up SAM, or any non-suppression of enemy air defenses SED. Team aircraft crosses inside the maximum recommended intercept range of any known SAM. The voicing entity will direct a snap heading 180 degrees away from the SAM and voice the SAM's bullseye, being directive then descriptive. Trespass example. Rambo 2, Snap 170, Trespass 15 Bullseye 3-2-0/32. 9. Threat Reaction Communication A. Targeted aircraft should communicate S/a threat reactions on mission tactical nets. 1. If it enables or aircraft requires reactive SED. 2. To enhance the common tactical picture for other mission or package assets. B. These transmissions should be in either a low or high-fidelity format. Minimum accuracy to consider a threat high fidelity is a 5 nanometers, semi-major ellipse, or as mission planned. Low-fidelity format call sign, radar warning receiver indication, bearing, defending with cardinal direction, own ship bullseye. Low-fidelity example, Hornet 1, Singer 11, bearing 360, defending west, bullseye 3-4-5/30. High-fidelity format call sign, radar warning receiver indication, S/a threat bullseye/location, defending with cardinal direction. High-fidelity example, Bolt 1, Singer 11, bullseye 3-6-0/32, defending west. 10. SEAD contracts A. SED aircraft should provide one of 4 responses to a defending call. 1. HARM inbound. High-speed anti-radiation missile, HARM, already employed. 2. Magnum. Launch of friendly anti-radiation missile, ARM. 3. Empty. No emitters of interest detected. 4. Arizona. No ARM ordnance remaining. 5. Canyon. Use electromagnetic jamming on radar frequency indicated or in accordance with previous orders or information call for execution EA list or EA against designated group. B. Sniper and slapshot communication. 1. Sniper. A. This is a directive call from the SAD package/FL. B. It indicates a specific aircraft/element should employ an ARM against a range known S/a threat. Sniper example directive call, Storm, Sniper 11 bullseye 3-6-0/32. Response, Storm 2, Magnum 11 bullseye 3-6-0/32. 2. Slapshot. A. This is a directive call indicating an aircraft or element should immediately employ the best available ARM on the specified threat bearing. B. Slapshot assumes the S/a threat range is unknown. Slapshot example directive call, Storm, Slapshot 15 bearing 317. Response, Storm 2, HARM inbound. 3. SAD players respond with HARM inbound, Magnum, empty, or Arizona. C. EA communication. Aircraft should direct or communicate EA using the following terminology. EA examples directing EA, Bolt 1, Jam 11, Bullseye 3-6-0/32. Informative EA, Bolt 1, Canyon 11, Bullseye 3-6-0/32. Ceasing EA, Bolt 1, Clam 11, Bullseye 3-6-0/32. 11. Find, fix, track, target, engage, and assess F2T2EA. Contracts A. Find. The MC is responsible to hold or delegate authority for aircraft or element search contracts. Find example MC. Bolt. Work 6 Bullseye 3-6-0/34. Aircraft. Bolt 1. Working 6 Bullseye 3-6-0/34. MC. Haas. Map 15 Bullseye 3-1-7/17. Aircraft. Haas 3. Mapping 15 Bullseye 3-1-7/17. MC. Conan. Investigate track number 1-2-3-4-5. Aircraft. Conan. B. Fix. 1. Locate the threat and pass TLE or ellipse, semi-major, quality with the fixed call. 2. Use the following terms to delineate fixed quality. A. Low accuracy. Inside 1 nanometer. Low accuracy example, Bolt 1, 6 fixed Bullseye 3-6-0/32, low accuracy. B. High accuracy. Inside 1,000 feet. High accuracy example, Agent 6, fixed Bullseye 3-6-0/32, high accuracy, track number 0-3-0-0-7. C. Targetable. Cat 2 low is assumed. Any other TLE is added as a fill-in. Controllers should populate a J3.5 over individual J12.6s once they are called targetable. Controllers should report hollow bullseye if they do not hold the J12.6. Targetable examples Haas 3, fixed scrum half bullseye 3-1-7/17, targetable. Agent, scrum half bullseye 3-1-7/17, targetable, track number 1-6-1-7-3. C. Track. 1. Tracking is necessary for custody of a threat, SAM, high-value target, or other surface entity. 2. The MC or TL can direct an asset to track, scan, or monitor an area or object. A. Track. This is a directive call assigning responsibility to maintain sensors or a visual on a defined object or area to an asset. B. Monitor. Maintain sensor awareness on a specified group or object. It implies tactically significant changes are communicated. For maritime operations, it means maintain contact or targeting information on a maritime surface contact. C. Scan. Search the indicated sector and report any contacts. 3. Assets can respond with occupied, tally, tracking, captured, or monitoring if able to track. Tally example MC, Haas, track 3 vehicle convoy bullseye 3-0-0/45, moving west, track number 3-4-3-4-5. Aircraft, Haas 1 tally. Captured example MC, Sabre, track T-72 column bullseye 0-5-0/55, moving north. Aircraft, Sabre, captured, track number 2-2-2-2-2. Monitoring example MC, Weasel 51, monitor 11, track number 1-1-1-1-1. Aircraft, Weasel 51, monitoring 11, bullseye 3-1-6/60. 4. Assets can respond with NOJY if they have not found the object. D. Target and attack plan. 1. The purpose of the attack plan is to A. Establish a sort, especially across multiple formations. B. To establish weapon pairings. C. Reference locations, e.g., predetermined points, anchor references with distance or bullseye. D. Time and deconfliction prior to pushing as a force package. 2. This plan should also delineate responsibilities. Note: the plan can be communicated via link 16, and each player needs only to acknowledge good data. Attack game plan example in the following example, Rambo is the MC and Escort TL, Hornet is the Strike TL, Bolt is a Strike FL, and Python is the Seed TL. Rambo, MC, Hornet, Bolt, Python, standby game plan. FLs, Hornet, Bolt, Python, Rambo, Hornet, target and scan Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, 2 vehicle convoy bullseye 2-7-5/69, moving south, best. Push at 2117 from Red Oscar. Bolt, cover Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Rambo escort and Python seed per brief. FLs, Hornet. Bolt. Python. E. Engage. 1. The aircraft executing the attack will call pushing at the push with a TT once all players have acknowledged the plan. 2. Aircraft should call releases with time of flight and impact when able. If an aircraft has additional support requirements for the A/S weapon, provide this as a fill-in, e.g., lasing or scanning. Pushing example Hornet captured Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Pushing taught 21 hours, 21 minutes, and 15 seconds. Hornet 1, 1 weapon away Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, 45 seconds, lasing. Hornet 1, splash Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. F. Assess. 1. Scan can be used to direct the weapon effects assessment. A. Scan means to search the indicated sector and report any contacts. B. Once the target or object has been acquired and is being tracked with an onboard sensor or visually, respond with captured or tally. C. If unable to find the target or object, relay vacant, empty, or NOJY. 2. To describe the weapon results, use successful or unsuccessful. A. Successful. Desired weapon effects were generated. Successful can be used to complete the F2T2EA chain. Dropping is an informative call from a tasked aircraft that the aircrew is no longer targeted to a tasking. Weapons effects generated. Dropping. Example Hornet. Hornet, splash Alpha Alpha 0 to 1 successful. Dropping Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Drop is a directive call to remove a ground target from the tactical ground picture. Weapons effects generated. Drop. Example Hornet. Hornet, splash Alpha Alpha 0 to 1 successful. Hornet, Dark Star, drop Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, TN5-2-3-4-2. B. Fumble. Desired weapon effects were not generated. Informative fill-ins can assist when relaying unsuccessful. Fumble clean, i.e., no visible battle damage, indicates the target sustained no damage or no weapon impact was noted. Fumble hit indicates weapon impact was noted within a lethal distance, but the effects were not generated. Weapons effects not generated. Example Hornet. Hornet, splash Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, fumble hit. 3. Reattack. A. Plan reattack options during mission planning if an asset is capable of a real-time hit assessment. B. To facilitate rapid reattack, consider using scan with cover. Cover. This is a directive call to be ready for reattack or re-engage if weapons effects are not generated. Hound Dog. This call is in response to cover, indicating the directed aircraft is in a position to employ weapons. Reattack option. Example MC. Hornet target and scan Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Bolt cover Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. Hornet. Hornet 1, 1 weapon away Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, 45 seconds, lasing and scanning. Hornet. Hornet, splash Alpha Alpha 0 to 1, unsuccessful hit. Bolt. Bolt, Hound Dog Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. MC. Bolt, reattack, Alpha Alpha 0 to 1. References Joint Publications DoD Dictionary of Military and Associated Terms as of July 2024. JP 1 to 0, Joint Personnel Support, September 20th, 2024. JP 3 to 0, Joint Campaigns and Operations, June 18th, 2022. JP 3 to 9.3, Close Air Support, June 10th, 2019, validated on June 7th, 2021. JP 3 to 52, Joint Airspace Control, October 22nd, 2022. Multi-Service Publications ADP 1-02.1/MCRP 3-30B.1/ENT-TP 6-02.1/AFTP 3 to 2.5 Multi-Service Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures for Multi-Service Brevity Codes, March 7, 2023. ATP 3-60.2/MCRP 3-20D.1/NTP 3-03.4.43/AFTP March 2nd, 72, Multi-Service Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures for Strike Coordination and Reconnaissance, 31st January 2018. Service Publications Department of the Air Force Instruction, DAFI, 90-160, Publications and Forms Management, April 14, 2022. Department of the Air Force Manual 90-161, Publishing Processes and Procedures, 18th October 2023. Marine Corps Order 5600.31b Marine Corps Printing, Publishing, and Reprofragics. Equipment Regulations, January 17, 2023.